right. It's another Tuesday, which means it's time for us to have another episode of the Big Three podcast. It's also second week with Jake, so we're building off of last week, and I think we got a good show for you guys today. Have a little mock draft that we're gonna try later on in the show. Really excited for that. But before we get into all that, what's up, everybody? Jordan, Dylan, Jake, how you guys doing? I mean, start with Jordan on this one. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. I mean, I just saw you Monday for the Chiefs podcast. So I was like, I can't run away from you, man. But yeah, like you said, Jake's said second. Yeah, it's like Jake's second show. I mean, he might have to compete with Jake Silva, man. Jake the Snake, man, to see who's the better Jake.
What's up?
But yeah, man, it's another good episode in the books. Let's go, man. I'm ready to go.
Yeah. Dylan, how you doing?
I'm doing good as well. We had an exciting week of conference championship games. I'm excited to talk about sports. Excited for this mock draft. Haven't done a live one with multiple people before, so I'm definitely very interested and ready to get into this. So,
yes, I think that's going to be probably the highlight of the episode because it's going to be interesting to see how we all think when, like you said, it's easy to do it when you're just by yourself, just making picks. But now other people will see somebody take somebody we may like. But Jake, I mean, like I said, second week. Clearly, you came back, so I mean, you must like doing the show, I guess.
Yeah, you guys didn't scare me off yet.
All right, cool.
No, we're good. Like Dale said, we had some good football. There's definitely a lot to talk about for conference weekend that'll kind of bridge the gap. There's no football this weekend, which is always a bummer, but yeah, I'm excited for the draft. I'm curious to see how it's all just going to go. Yeah, yes. I will say the Pro Bowl skills competition has me more intrigued than the actual old school Pro Bowl because I've never watched a Pro Bowl. Like I'll admit, like it was just too depressing to watch, so I just would never do it. So I'll give it a look.
Yeah, I agree. I'm down for the skills competition.
Yeah, I was gonna say that like kind of like the NBA, kind of like on the All Star, like they go. Well, I know it's different in football, but that they go to like the different obstacles and stuff, or is it?
I think. Well, I know they're gonna have like greatest catch where guys kind of freestyle and all that. They're gonna have, I guess, the kickers doing basically tic-tac-toe, kicking it through little grids and stuff like that. I think they have like, I guess they're still doing the one where like the defenders blocking the targets and the quarterbacks trying to throw it through the little holes and all that. So
dodgeball.
I'm with Jake. Dodgeball. Which I mean, when you first heard it was like, watching these grown men playing dodgeball, whatever, but they seem to really get into it, so I'm all about that.
Yeah, bro. I want to see quarterbacks just throw straight missiles with a ball that is lighter and easier to grip. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, so I think it's gonna be fun.
Do they have like the people who are in it, like the list of people who are in each event?
They probably do somewhere. Yeah,
I know
that week.
Justin Jefferson's gonna be in it, definitely. Justin Jefferson, Stephon Diggs.
Tyler Huntley.
I want to see, like Dylan said, I want to see a quarterback with like those Nerf balls with you saw in the 90s with like the tail on the end that would whistle and just see what kind of damage it could do with some crazy thing like that.
Oh, Dylan, no, I'm not gonna do fly with that one, bro. I saw a tweet though. So Burrow Allen is injured.
Mm-hmm.
Burrow, I think I said that it was Joe Burrow. Was it Mahomes in the Super Bowl? Burrow, I think he's injured or he didn't want to play. They had Tua Tagovailoa, he was injured, and then they had basically every quarterback was injured. So Snoop he had to call up.
Not enough of them are injured for Huntley to be the guy that's.
I think Lawrence. I heard Lawrence was.
I think Lawrence is there. I think it's Lawrence, Carr, Huntley. Which I'm like, Huntley, how does he fit?
Well, Carr got benched. Like you have a benched quarterback and a backup quarterback. Like
they should have brought in What if they brought in Stidham over Carr?
That would have been great. I would have loved that. Yeah. That would have been awesome.
I mean, you couldn't get Mike White. He wasn't available. Mac Jones. I'm sure he would have done it.
I'd take Kenny Pickett over Huntley. Like. Something.
Did Herbert not want to do it? What's going on with that?
That's
Probably
another
not.
one, Herbert. Yeah, he probably did. With the way that game ended, he was probably like, "No, I'm good for the year."
I don't want to
there
be
like
seen on
actual-
TV.
Is there like an actual Pro Bowl game, or is this like the
Nope.
events?
There's no more Pro Bowl game. It's just the
So what's the big
events.
deal about throwing
They're
another big
doing-
in? Though?
They're doing flag football.
Oh, that's
Yep.
oh,
Yeah,
that's
they're doing
that's-
flag football.
well,
Yeah, I forgot
Yeah.
about
Well,
that.
it's not even. I'm not. I mean, I know.
I'm more
injuries
intrigued
could
by
happen.
that, to be honest with you, because they can juke people out and do more stuff. You're going to see a lot more. These guys are not going to have helmets on. Like, they're going to fly up there and get these balls. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be fun. It'll be fun.
Nobody
Light and
wanted to
easy. It'll
tackle
be
in
fun.
Pro Bowls anyway, because why?
unless you're
Risk,
Sean
you know,
Taylor.
Well, yeah. I mean, he was one of the last ones who was like really playing it like a real game. Most of these guys that kind of just joke with each other, go through the motions on routes and all that. I don't want to see that. Flag
Jones
football,
gritties to the end zone.
yeah, flag football, they'll trash talk. You'll get all that, and they'll actually try it because all you're doing is grabbing a flag. So I'm here for it. But I mean, we have to start with NBA, of course. They learned about the All-Star starters, so we're going to talk about that and see did the fans get it right, and throw out some names and see who should be reserves. So let me pull this up for you guys. There
Oh,
we
you
go.
already have it pulled up already. Nice, man.
Hey man, I know what I'm doing. All right,
Like you said, Gene said, like you on the 1 and 2, man. You're always on it, man.
I try, man. So here are the starters for the Western Conference. We got Steph Curry, Luka Doncic, Nikola Jokic, Zion Williamson, and then the captain, LeBron James.
Damn, no Embiid. What happened to Embiid, man?
We'll talk. We'll get there.
We'll get into that one. In the East, we got Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, Donovan Mitchell, Jason Tatum, and the captain, Giannis Antetokounmpo. So looking at these two squads, did the voters get it right? We'll start
On the
with-
West.
Yeah, on the West, okay. Jordan, what do you think? Did the fans get it right?
Well, I thought Zion was hurt, or is he back?
I feel like Zion will probably be back by the All-Star.
Yeah,
If
I
not,
mean-
they'll name a replacement if he can't make it back. But
I mean, yeah, they got it right. For Zion, I might just have him with AD, but he might be a reserve AD.
So you're gonna talk about Zion being healthy. You're gonna throw in AD.
I mean,
He's healthy now, so he can't. So that's all he's saying. He's healthy now. So
I know. I got you.
but no, I think they got it right. I mean, Curry. I thought he was. Well, I think he deserves it, but I thought he was out for a month or two, I think. So, I mean, they got it right. LeBron's in the middle. Luka Doncic, yeah, they got it. Jokic, yep.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm not really other than that Zion spot. I mean, because I thought he was just hurt,
Okay. So I mean, I feel like that's probably the one you could maybe have.
but he deserves it. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like he deserves it.
Okay. Jake, how do you feel about?
So
fan voting?
I'm more like, first of all, the fan voting just is never ever right. There's preposterous. Like, you're not going to find too many guys that love LeBron James more than I do. I truly appreciate what he is, but he's at this point in his career with his team and the record that they're at, they're just at a different stage. So it's hard to see him as a starter when there's so many other good players. But for me, this might be a hot take, but when I look at the starters, the one that's glaring to me is Steph Curry over John Morant.
Okay.
That's the one that sticks out to me. The Warriors, look, they're the defending champs. Steph's awesome. We don't want to take anything away from what Steph can do, but the Warriors, they're not very good this year. And I know he was hurt. I think he missed like a month of the games. They don't play at all well on the road. I think their road game record, at least a couple weeks ago, they had like 2 or 3 wins. They're not a good team. This is not the same Warriors team that we saw last year. They're not performing well. And John Morant is not only is he one of the most exciting players in the league, he's just one of the best guards we have. The Grizzlies are a better team. They're better poised to make a playoff run. And if I was voting, I would have put John Morant over Steph Curry. Like,
So
again, I
Anthony says, "Did you
love
just
Steph
say,
Curry, but like
over
that's
Curry?"
like I'll pull up some stats while other people are talking here. But John Morant is a legit dude, and those Grizzly teams, that's that's a good team. And the Warriors, like I get that they're being carried by Steph, but he just doesn't look as good as he has. And I just think I would give it to Ja. That's me, but and y'all can hate on me as much as you want. I'm cool with it. I could take the criticism, but that's where I have in the West.
I can see. I mean, Anthony Price is not agreeing with you, but I kind of see where you're coming from because like Curry's only good. Like he's athleticism and then his 3-point capability, but Ja Morant gets that all-star caliber dunk. Explosive off the bounce, dunking. So, the king of traveling over Curry. I mean, anything, Bryce, man. This is All-Star weekend, man. People want to see. Curry can't. He can dunk, but he's not as electrifying as Ja Morant. So, I'm not gonna disagree with Jake with that. But maybe he can be reserved.
I wouldn't say Steph's not electrified. Fans
oh no, he's not. As far as the bounce and Ja Morant's like type athleticism. I know Curry's off the ball, like he's crazy, but Ja Morant on the ball, jumping to the rim, dunking on people's heads, freaking volleyball blocking dunks, both hands, like from like last year. Like that's all-star caliber, defense or offense.
Anthony Price brings up where's Embiid at. We'll get into that here in a second. We know with fans, they kind of vote for the guys they like. And Curry, when it comes to All-Star Weekend, he's always a big ticket guy because, people like seeing the half-court threes. They like seeing the logo three. They like seeing him with his shots, turning the back, running back to the other end. A couple of years ago, he gave us that alley-oop to Giannis when he bounced it, and Giannis went up and got it. So we know Steph Curry knows how to put on a show. So, I'm not too mad at that when it comes to fan voting. Like Jordan said, if you want to come up with a replacement for Zion because he's missed so many games, I guess we could go there. But we know Zion's a fan favorite because of, his dunking ability and all that. So for the most part, I think we're happier with the West as compared to the East. Because now looking at the East, Dylan, where are your biggest gripes with the East?
Man, it's really just where is Joel Embiid in this situation? It's one of the biggest talks about is like, how are we going to fit this out between Durant, Antetokounmpo, Tatum, and Embiid? One of these guys is going to have to be a reserved. And it seemed like consensus was like Embiid's a starter, it either might be Durant, it might be Tatum that might not get it out of the two. And it seemed like Embiid and Antetokounmpo were locks for the position. And then when you come out with this list and see that Embiid's not a starter, you're like, whoa, how is that possible? Like he is pretty sure one that he's top. If he's not first in points, he's second or third on one of the better Eastern Conference teams in the league. Plus his defensive stats don't lie. It's kind of crazy to see that he's off the list. Plus, of course, he's a center. He obviously gets his rebound numbers to go with it.
Mitchell.
Mitchell's been averaging a high number all.
Yeah, he deserves it. Come on, Anthony Price. Come on, brother.
Mitchell's there. The disagreement isn't on the guard spot. Like we can talk about Curry if we want, but there's one glaring. I don't know if it's an omission. Like there's just the way that the All-Star rosters are constructed. It's just not always going to be. I don't want to use the word fair, but it's not always going to be fair to everybody. Just as in terms of the balance of everything goes. There's one point I want to make in regard to this fairness as far as people getting left out, and this is for the All NBA list instead of the All-Star game. But just kind of bear with me as I go through this. Yeah. Shaquille O'Neal in 1994 averaged 29 points, 13 rebounds, and 3 blocks. That sounds like MVP numbers, right? He made the 3rd All-NBA team. So it's those situations because he had Hakeem and David Robinson ahead of him. Any other year, that's probably a first-team All-NBA. With this forward guard situation that they have, it's who do you choose? I probably would have taken Tatum off if I had to, because as great as Boston is and great as Tatum is,
Mhm.
You just look, Giannis is the most feared guy. Kevin Durant is carrying this Brooklyn team before he went out. And Embiid is like, he's a defensive monster. Defense matters. It's unfair, and it feels like Embiid is always the guy that's getting the shaft with these All NBA, All Star kind of nods.
Yeah, I was
I'm-
like,
go ahead,
Jake,
go ahead.
Jake brought up a good like topic because I don't know if this was part of the plans, but okay, so now since Embiid is like off the starting five, now I want to ask this panel on the show, like, what player would y'all take out to replace Embiid with? Like, who would y'all replace?
Me, I would have taken Durant out. When I did my belt, I had Embiid,
Because
Giannis, and
when
Tatum.
Jake said Tatum, I thought you were gonna refute like, oh hell
No, I mean the way that Jake's looking at it, I'm not mad if he wanted to leave Tatum off. I get it that what really helped Durant was that run that Brooklyn went on before he got hurt. And he was clearly, because we've seen now that he's been out, Brooklyn's kind of fallen back a little bit, which I think really helped him out as well. So Durant was the guy that I would have taken off for Embiid. And I'm not like Dylan said, I thought Embiid was a lock.
Yeah, me
he
too.
is
Me too.
leading the league in scoring. And we know Embiid is a popular player. Not to
Right.
say that Durant's not, but it just seemed like with Philly being top 3 in the East, that seemed the obvious choice. I thought it was going to come down to like Durant or Tatum. And I thought Tatum would get him because the Celtics have the best record in the East. And, it's tough to leave Durant off because he's having such a great year, but that's the way I thought that was going to go.
It's
even
splitting hairs
yeah.
at this point. It's really
Right,
what it
right,
feels like. And it's really unfair to those 4 dudes. If we could make just a team that's just the 5 best players, it's probably those 4 guys and then take Kyrie off and put Embiid in. Like, you can make that argument for sure. Like,
So these are
Kyrie's
not
performance compared to the other 4 is very lackluster compared to Durant, Giannis, Tatum, and Mitchell. Like, seeing Irving's name up there is kind of jarring compared to the other 4 and what they've accomplished.
Other than Donovan in the East, what are there any point guards that are putting up numbers like that other than Kyrie?
Anthony, you jumped ahead of where I was going with it. I had Jaylen Brown over Kyrie Irving.
Yep. You can make the argument that Brown is a guard. He's kind of in that tweener mode, and I would definitely put
Or that small forward shooting guard role, yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty sure you
put
could
that
vote
there.
as him as a guard. So I'm
I
pretty
think
sure
you
he was
can.
under guard
Yeah, he was
selection.
on the ballot as a guard, yeah. So that's where I went with it, and I was really surprised to see Kyrie made it as a starter.
Yeah, I was a little surprised too. It seemed like Mitchell was the lock out of the guards, and then like you could throw in either like your like Trae Youngs or your Jaylen Browns were really the only other 2 that were kind of in there.
Yeah. So I guess to go with Anthony's question, would you have had Brown on the team? I said yeah. I said yes. Jordan?
I think, because it's only 5 people per team, so it's like, if I didn't say Jalen, I'd probably say he'd be a high first reserve. I think Kyrie for all of us throw us off. But then again, it's fan favorite, so it's not like it's based off a stats or anything. So but wasn't it based off of like stats before? Like coaches had to vote on it or whatever.
This is strictly fan voting.
It's
Oh,
always
he's talking
been.
about
It's
he's
always
talking
been.
about
It's always been
before.
fan voting,
I
or has it been coaches voted on the?
feel like the
players?
coaches always did reserves. I feel
That's
the
my
Stars
understanding. My understanding
Stars
is
has
that the
always been fan
fans,
voting.
the fans do this one here, the 10 players that we see, and then the coaches do the reserves, and that's where you see more logical conclusions. You have to remember that in the past, for all-star starters, players like Yao Ming have been named all-star starters when they're been retired because of mass voting in home countries for their players. Like the fan voting is very broken in this aspect.
Yeah, like Jake said, it's like splitting hairs. Because if I say I play Jaylen Brown with Kevin Durant, Durant deserves to be a starter. I don't see him as a reserve. You know what I'm saying? Unless he's injured. You know what I'm saying? So But maybe
Well,
Embiid.
I think in this case it would literally be Brown or Irving, because Brown couldn't replace Durant. Durant would have been the.
But
Embiid.
is he going to be healthy to play by that time? He hasn't been back yet, so that's a question.
Well, they'll worry about that when they get there. You know, if Durant can't play, then I think the coaches pick a replacement. No, the commissioner, I believe, picks a replacement.
Yeah, I think it's decided by the league at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. So I would put, if I'm taking Kyrie out, it's a choice between Jaylen Brown and Tyrese Halliburton. Those are the two guys that I'm thinking for that last guard spot. I probably lean more towards Jaylen Brown, but I want to give a shout out to Halliburton because he's legit, and I absolutely love watching him play.
Yeah. It's either Jaylen Brown or Jimmy Butler for that guard spot too.
No.
Have Halliburton as like a
I'm
high
not
reserve.
making Butler a starter. No. Not this year. No. I can't do that one. With Dylan, we didn't get you in on this one. Brown or Irving? Where would you have gone with this one?
That's tough because I mean Kyrie Irving has been like, even though the Nets haven't been as great since Irving's returnal and KD's injury, Kyrie's still been getting the stats. Like he's been playing well. He averages I think around 27.3 points a game. Man, it's rough. It's one of those situations that it's just like the fan voting is really what got it. And if that sense, if I had to pick with the fan voting in place, I think Kyrie's probably the smarter pick here. I don't know. It's tough. I think they're both pretty close when it comes to statistical wise. You know, I'm not sure if you take Tatum off this team, does Jaylen Brown play as good? I mean, you know, you took Kyrie Irving's best player off the court and Kevin Durant, and you know, he's still averaging his numbers and the Nets aren't as bad. So when I think about that in that sense, I'd probably take Kyrie Irving just because the stats are just as close. And I don't think Jaylen Brown would probably be as good without Tatum for this long a stretch. So who knows? Okay. I think either pick was the right pick when it came to that. You had a plethora of guards you could have put in that last spot. And I think any pick would have made people scratch their heads a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. And I just want to pull up Anthony's Sabonis, which I guess would go to Zion if you didn't have Zion. Would Sabonis be the guy? There's another name that I would throw out there. Probably Markkanen could have been in.
That's my boy.
If Zion wasn't there, but I mean, I agree. Sabonis has been putting up, really good numbers for a Sacramento team that's actually relevant this year. I was a little surprised that maybe that wouldn't have given him a bump because of Sacramento being good, but we all know that Zion is a really big fan favorite. So,
would y'all be opposed of like a rookie being in? Because I'm thinking that dude from the Kings.
Keegan Murray? Nah,
yeah.
Keegan Murray ain't good.
Yeah, Keegan Murray.
No, he's great. Keegan Murray's awesome, but
I love Keegan Murray. I love Keegan Murray. I was so happy about him. But he ain't getting in the All-Star game.
No shade to him. He's awesome.
Yeah. All right, Dylan, this question's for you. Are you saying Brown is better than Tatum? I mean, he said LOL, but.
Oh, you said Reed, like Dylan Reed.
No. What I was saying is I'm not sure if Jaylen Brown, it would be like Jaylen Brown and the Celtics would be as good without Tatum there compared to how the Nets are right now when it comes to Kevin Durant being out and Kyrie Irving playing. I think the Celtics would be in more trouble with Brown just being there and no Tatum for like injury or something. I wasn't saying that Brown was better than Tatum at all.
Yeah. I mean, I got what you were saying. I think he was just trying to be funny. But I mean, appreciate that one. All right, so we have our starters. They are what they are. It is what it is. So if you are LeBron or Giannis as the captain, which what they're doing this year that's different is
like playground.
They're going to pick their team right on the court before the game, which I love.
Yeah, I heard that, yeah.
Because we know that whoever's sitting there last, the camera's going to be all on them or whatever. But if you had your first pick, who would you take? Start with Jake on this one.
Oh, man.
We don't know who our reserves are yet either, do we? So we just got to pick them.
They would be picking from the starters.
So if we're just going from the starters here, oh, man. That's tough. If we're so it's tough it's funny because when I hear like pick up basketball, it's essentially what this is on the blacktop. I just think of Kyrie and Uncle Drew just doing his thing. But I think I would honestly, like in this situation, I'm probably taking Kevin Durant. Like he's huge. He's 7 feet tall, huge handles. He can still attack the basket. He's, in my opinion, the best scoring forward we've ever seen. And if I'm playing a game where there's not as much defense, I want the guy that, can do over everybody. I take Durant that first pick.
Okay. Dylan, who would you take?
I had the first pick. Man, it's
Mhm.
probably between Durant or maybe Jokic. I don't know. Jokic is one of those dudes who's just kind of just a creative guy. He'd be one of just a big body in there because when it gets to that fourth quarter and they are playing for points, they do get a little serious there, and you want a guy who's going to be able to play make. He has good playmaking for a big. He'll be able to get like easy blocks if it comes down to it. It'd be between him or Durant. It'd be one of those two. I'd probably take Durant though. It's going to be the first 3 quarters, so going to be like scoring, like Jake said. It's going to be lax. So yeah, I take the best scorer out, one of the best scorers on the list. So
Okay. Anthony says if he's healthy, yes, KD, but if he's still injured, he would take Luka first.
that's
Yeah,
it's a good.
All
pick,
these
too.
things are injuries. Like everyone's healthy. Like we're doing the 2K
Right.
thing where you turn injuries off. Like
Jordan, who are you taking first?
I mean, I would. My first pick would be Tatum, but I know they had that kind of like that it was the block, so they might have that little beef between.
Yeah,
So,
LeBron ain't picking Tatum. LeBron ain't picking Tatum.
so I'm gonna go with big. I'm gonna go Giannis for my first pick.
No, you can't.
Oh, wait,
Giannis is the other
Giannis
guy.
is a
captain.
captain.
Ah, damn. What the hell? Damn. I go Curry. I'll go Curry.
That's a good call. Like,
He plays great in All-Star games.
yep,
Yeah,
He goes crazy in them.
yep,
yeah.
good call.
That's kind of where I was leaning too. I'd probably go. I think it's probably between Curry and Durant. And if Durant goes first, I'm betting Curry probably goes second. But I might be leaning towards Curry.
Maybe shoot. No one. Brian. He might pick Kyrie first. No one. Brian.
Yeah, we know LeBron likes to play up for the cameras. I'll leave that one alone.
Yeah.
I mean, Jordan knows what I'm talking about, but I'm sure the rest of you figured it out too. That game.
Wait.
We're not going into that game though.
Oh wait. Wait. I missed that comment. You said with the camera.
I said LeBron likes to play up for the camera when you said he'd probably take Kyrie because the whole temper tantrum was clearly for the camera. But that's all I'll say about that game.
All right.
All right, so looking at the reserves, which I believe get announced on, is it Thursday?
I think it's
on
Thursday.
TNT. I think it's like before Celtics Knicks, I believe. So looking at possible reserves, I'm gonna throw out some names. You let me know if you think they'll be a reserve or not.
How many reserve spots are there? 10?
There are
12?
7.
7?
Yeah, which is another thing that's kind of weird that the All-Star roster is only 12. I feel like they
Yep,
should bump it
That's weird.
to 15, but we'll see. Let's start East.
So can we? If I pick a player, is that player off the board or?
Well, I was just going to kind of throw out names because to get it moving along. Siakam, is he a reserve? Just I guess yes or no would work.
I'd say yes.
I say yeah.
I'd say yes for the simple fact that with Toronto being in such a topsy-turvy state, everybody wants Siakam. He's the trade piece. A lot of guys are like, man, maybe we could price Siakam from Toronto. And so many teams are like, man, if we had a Pascal Siakam, we'd win a championship. For me, I'd vote him in. I love everything about his game.
Yeah.
He's the best player on that team with the stats to back it up. I mean, yeah.
Okay. Julius Randle.
Yeah. He's been going on for the Knicks. I say yeah.
I'm real iffy on that one because I don't know if the Knicks have two of the next 7 best players. And if I'm picking, I'd rather have Jalen Brunson as an all-star than Julius Randle. I think Jalen Brunson unlocks everything for the Knicks and is a better player. I get the Randall's had kind of a resurgence, but I think Brunson has a lot to do with that. And that's tough. I'd probably lean more towards the no, but it's an iffy for me on that one on Randall.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the middle on that one. I have to hear other options.
Yep.
Like to compare and contrast, and like if I got down to it and Randall was still the best option there, then yeah.
Okay.
But I'm not sure who else would take that spot, and I don't want to say, yeah, give Julius Randle that spot, and then someone else is like, man.
I mean, we already know Embiid's going to be one, so I don't even need to throw that out.
No,
there.
we could just lock that down. Yeah.
How about Randall's teammate, Jalen Brunson?
I put him in. I think he was worth the contract. I think he was a great player. He really is kind of the face of the Knicks. I'm not sure what the Knicks' record are. I haven't checked on them for a minute, but they're in contention, and I'd say he's their most valuable player. So I'd put him in.
Okay. Anybody?
No, I would
disagree
not.
with Brunson, or
yeah, I would disagree with Brunson. If you look at it, I mean, if we count Siakam and Embiid as guaranteed people going to be in it, that leaves 5 spots left, and I'm not sure if I would give that spot to Brunson over one of the 2 guard spots to Brunson over like Jaylen Brown, who's going to be in a lock, and then you have so many plethora of the guards when you get to like Halliburton, Trae Young, other stuff
fair.
like that. Not sure.
That's fair.
I'm not sure if I'd give that spot to Brunson at the end of the day.
No, you know what? You convinced me, Dylan. Like I think looking at the other guards, because you got Trae Young, you got Halliburton, Jaylen Brown. Look, I love Brunson, but that's tough. That might be the first cutoff guy. Would be Brunson. That's a good point.
What's up, Freddie?
Sorry, Freddie.
7 spots is tough.
Yeah, that's good. It's gonna leave off some pretty big names. I mean, Dylan brought this name up, so I'll go there next. Trae Young.
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't be opposed.
We've been talking about how he's been, not a team leader. His shooting is not as prolific.
It's the eye and all-star. There isn't one.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true.
Trey's tough because he's averaging like 25 and 9. Those are good numbers. His shooting percentages are down. He doesn't defend. His team's not performing well. The Hawks seem to be built for him, and they're not performing. And I don't know if I want to reward him with an all-star spot when there's so many other good guards in the East that might deserve it more. This does go to show how deep the league is the past few years, where we're talking about, hey, is Trae Young going to be an all-star? 2 years ago, it'd be like, oh, he's going to be an all-star lock for a decade with how he plays. But at this point, I have to think on that one. I wouldn't be shocked if he's left off. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that one. I'm interested to see if the coaches, pick Trae Young for the same reasons you said, Jake. Like, yeah, he has the numbers, but if you watch the Hawks play, I can't say I would look at Trae Young and be like, that's a definite all-star player. And
Yep.
you can kind of look at his numbers and be like, is he just putting that up on a team that's kind of bad?
Yeah.
Good stat, bad team guy. Sure.
Right. And I'm also one of those who feels like Murray needs to be the guy there, but we know that Trae Young's been there so long. He's a fan favorite in Atlanta, so making that transition would be kind of tough. But when I see DeJounte Murray play, I see a more dynamic guy with the ball in his hands and all that. I love that move for Atlanta. I just have questions of whether or not he and Young necessarily are the best fit for each other.
I don't know if there's a good fit for anybody for Trae Young to play alongside. He looks like one of those players that might be one of the most frustrating to play alongside. Like if you think, who would I want to play with? Like Jokic is a guy that I'd want to play with because I'm just going to get the ball in a million different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Trae Young, like, okay, I'll just stand in the corner. Like that's not fun. It's hard for teams to get engaged in that aspect.
Yeah, that's true. All right, throw a couple more names out before we go to the West. James Harden. I feel like he's become a guy that a lot of people are on both sides of the fence on. So would you guys put Harden in as a reserve?
Again, it's just to pick him at that point because it's like if you're putting him in the guards, it's like, again, Jaylen Brown, Tyrese Halliburton, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Some other, you got some other guards in there that if you look at it and you'd be like, yeah, it's James Harden, but also at the end of the day, it's like this isn't the Houston James Harden we're having here. You know, this is a different 76ers James Harden. And do we think his stats are like good enough to get him in? I think he's averaging more points and assists than Halliburton. So I think that's definitely something to be in consideration. But it's just to pick them. I mean, whoever they pick in these reserve spots, I mean, you know, as long as they don't leave Tatum off, not Tatum, but if they don't leave Embiid off, you know, again, whoever they put in, it's going to kind of just be like, well, if I can see a case, you know, you're going to have some diehards that will be like, well, this is why he should be in, and I could understand it. So whoever gets these guard spots is going to be tricky outside of like Jaylen Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Brown a good one. Center, Bam Adebayo.
Yeah, I was going there in terms of Adebayo and Butler as Miami guys. Could you see both of them getting in, or do you think only one of them?
I can see them both. I can see them both getting in. I mean, Bam definitely for a center position.
To be honest, I would think Butler would get in over Bam just because that's how the NBA is with Embiid taking that center position.
But how many players we have so far?
He'll be a true.
So we already have Embiid locked. We have
Siakam and Jaylen Brown. So that would be 4 spots.
Yep. So we said Harden's kind of like a 50-50.
You still got Halliburton. He's going to be iffy in there. You know, like you have some players.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. When you're leaving it at 12 guys, it's really tough. You know, if you had 15, yeah, there might be the 16th guy who maybe you can make an argument for, but
Randall, we said maybe it's like he can fit in there. We'll see.
But let's look at the West. You know, just to throw out some names here. So I'm trying to think of who would be a lock. Anthony, you brought up a good name too. I forgot about him. DeRozan. I mean, the Bulls haven't had a great year, but I feel like DeRozan's had probably the best year on the team. And, you know, he had a really good year last year. Would you reward DeRozan with a reserve spot?
Yeah.
I like DeRozan. He's an old school player. Like that's
he's definitely a fan favorite.
He's a good pass. He's developed his passing skill. Is killer from the mid range. I like him. I'd like to see him because how many more years we're going to see for DeRozan? He's been in the league since like 2010 or 2009. I just don't see it when there's so many other guards he could put in with Halliburton, Harden, Jaylen Brown, Jalen Brunson, like all these guys we've talked about. I think he misses the cut, and part of it is because Chicago's team just hasn't performed like what we were either expecting or hoping for Chicago fans.
I guess it's directed towards you, Jordan. Please don't say Anthony Davis for the rest.
Why not?
I mean,
do y'all see Anthony Davis not being All-Star?
How many games has he played?
Can I make an argument against him? Yes, but like I said, we'll get into the West and we'll see. We'll see if we have Anthony Davis. Let me just get this here. Good evening, panel.
Good evening, Smoking Jeremy.
All right, so the West. Once again, I'm gonna throw out some names and you let me know. Sabonis.
Yeah,
I say yes.
For sure. I say
yes. I put him in. Yep, easy.
Okay.
That's an easy lock.
You went on Sabonis?
Yeah.
All right. Markkanen. I say yes.
I say
Yep.
All right, let's go ahead. Anthony Davis.
Yes.
How many games has he played?
I want to say.
I'll look it up because that's the thing for me is like, how often is this dude on the court?
How often is Zion on the court? He's a starter.
But once again, Zion was by the fans. This one's going to be by coaches for the reserves.
Also, coaches.
We can't help with how the fans feel about Zion. Because, like I said, I wouldn't have
27
had Zion as a starter.
27 games.
27 games.
Man. So it's,
He's averaging, and if you look at his regular season, he is playing 33 minutes. He's averaging 26 points and 12 rebounds, which are really good numbers, but
Mhm.
27 games over, 45 roughly? So he's played half the games.
That's
That's
gonna
tough.
I mean, Jeremy says, unibrow, which is AD, as a bench player.
So he's a reserve.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I would say he was. I kind of be awkward to see him not as All Star.
I don't think it'd be that awkward.
No. Does he want to play in the
You would
All-Star
just say
game?
He just hasn't
Yeah.
played enough.
What
But
happens
yeah.
is there an athlete that
I mean, he was
you
on our
see
last
fall
year. He missed
down?
games.
If there's an athlete that you see that when they fall on the ground, your breath doesn't just like tighten up and you're like, oh, is he hurt? Oh, is he hurt? Every time Anthony Davis falls down on the court, I'm like, he probably sprained his ankle, tweaked his knee. Like he's made of glass, and I don't.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't
think
know,
that
man.
I think that last injury. I don't think it was his fault. I think it was his. I think I can't remember. I think it was the knee that happened, but
I don't know, man. What about
I
all
mean,
the other
didn't-
injuries?
but didn't he miss like a couple games last year and he made the all like reserves? So it's like,
Well, I mean, you didn't have Markkanen, you didn't have Sabonis last year.
Yep.
well, we
The
already
league's
said
better.
If you put anything, you might as well put Westbrook in. Oh, he might be a reserve too. The way he's playing off the bench.
All right. Now you're
I
getting
think they
ahead
might
of
put
yourself.
someone in like Jaren Jackson Jr. because how good the Grizzlies are.
There you go. Could become a numbers game with AD.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the West, maybe they go only 3 front court players. And
I'm sorry,
4
they're going 3 guards. They're going 3 guards for the West because
think
there's no way Shea, and Damian Lillard are all 3 not on there somehow.
right? And I could throw out a 4th guard.
What about
De'Aaron
Clay?
De'Aaron Fox.
Oh yeah, no,
Yep.
not Clay.
No, not Clay. So if you had those 4 guards, that means you're only going to have 3 front court players.
Yeah, I
If you're
don't
going
think
going
Anthony Davis makes it.
Bonus and
I
marketing.
don't think Anthony Davis makes it. I
None
think
on my
that-
ballot. He wouldn't be on my ballot. I'll put it that way.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see for sure. But yeah, like I said, AD it could.
Like you said, it comes out this Thursday or next Thursday. Like the
It's
for
this
the
Thursday.
reserve.
Yeah, they'll name it. Yeah,
Something
this
cool.
Thursday, which I guess is the 2nd.
February 2nd. Yeah.
Yeah. What's going on? Cool. How you doing? Yeah, we're just talking about the All-Star reserves. See who would make it, and whether AD should be in reserve or not. All right, so I think we can kind of settle on Sabonis, Markkanen, Morant, Shea, Lillard, Fox, and then the 7th spot. Dylan threw out there Jaren Jackson. I mean, Jordan, you have AD. Is there anybody else we could thinking of for that 7th spot?
It's just crazy. I know Devin Booker's been hurt, but like it's crazy that Booker isn't in the discussion because he's been such a fantastic player for so many years. But I mean, when's the last time he played? I think he hurt himself on Christmas and it's been out since then. That makes it tough.
Yeah. So Cool says street clothes, nah. And then Anthony throws out there Jordan Poole.
Nah,
Paul George.
nope.
What do we think about Paul George? I guess should be the last person I will throw in there for the West.
That's an interesting name. How do you guys feel about Paul George?
Well, wouldn't they be like a shooting guard, small forward?
No, he could play a 4 in today's
Yeah.
NBA in an All-Star
What about a
game. He
3-4?
can be a 4. He'd be a 4. He's a
Mhm.
big dude. He's thick. He's played 36 games, so that's not terrible compared to a lot of the other guys. I'd rather see Paul George over Anthony Davis based off of just availability.
See, Jordan, it's a numbers game. AD's
Yeah.
not getting in.
We'll see.
You only got
man.
one All-Star, man. It's rough living.
Sorry.
And he's a captain.
And
Oh
he's the
no.
captain.
Well, I mean, like we said, all right, let's see. So Anthony says you can be anything in the All-Star game. They play no defense. That's also very true.
But don't they play defense
until
like third, fourth quarter? Yeah.
4th quarter. And by defense, it's they try. Especially now with the Elam ending, maybe you'll get a little bit more defense because you're not playing, so long into the fourth quarter anymore. So
Right.
Yeah,
we'll
get
just-
24.
yeah. All right. So last question on the All-Star before we move on. Kind of going back to the starters and the whole draft thing. Who do you think is at risk of being the last one picked?
Who? Wait,
The
he's
starters. Who's going to be the last guy picked out of the starters?
Donovan Mitchell.
Okay.
They did it to him and Rudy Gobert when they were reserves. Why won't they do it again? That'd be funny.
I say last one picked. That's a question. I see either Donovan Mitchell or Zion.
There's no chance Zion is the last one.
This hurts. This hurts because I have a Donovan Mitchell jersey in my closet. I have Donovan Mitchell's shoes. I have 2 pairs of his Spider shoes in my closet as a Utah Jazz fan. This pains me. It's Donovan Mitchell's going to be the last pick because Jokic is going to get picked early. Let's just go through the other 8 guys: Durant, Curry, Luka, Jokic because of his playmaking. Everyone's going to want to see what Jokic can do. Those guys are gone. Tatum and Zion are going to be picked more. So for me, it would come down between Kyrie and Donovan. And I just
agree
think
with that.
LeBron's going to be like, hey, Kyrie, come over here, man. See what it's like to play with me again. Try and lure him back over to LA. I hate it.
Especially if LeBron gets like Durant or something like that too.
He's gonna be like F Tatum. I don't want him on my team after what you did in the Boston Club.
And Tatum will dunk on him. So what's the problem?
Yeah, all right. We'll see about that.
He's done it.
Did it once.
Yeah.
LeBron, how many times does he dunk on Tatum?
Probably never.
Anthony, I've never played in them in actual like pickup games, but I like walking around.
Yo, Anthony's
like I'll say this: like my ankles are like a little shaky, so if I were to play pickup, I'd be getting those ankle bracers on them.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing worse than rolling your ankle in a pickup game. The shoes are fly. Are they as comfortable as some of the other Nikes? No, but I mean, as a Utah Jazz fan, for a player to have his own signature shoe, like, come on, that's never happened before. I had to do it, and then he, got traded. So
right.
A pair of his shoes. They're rough on the ankles a little bit actually. Now that he says it.
Yeah, they're rough, but they look cool. Yeah. They look fly, so I'll take it.
Yeah.
All right. And go to Jeremy's question here one last time. Does Ivy deserve a bench spot from the East? I'd say no. But I mean, he could.
What about Banchero?
Banchero, I like. I just think
he's too young right now.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, the only he could fit in if
I put Banchero over Ivy though.
I like Ivy. He's really good.
I like Ivy too. I saw him live when he was at Purdue. He's nice too.
I mean, if there's a lot of people getting hurt, they can't play, and it kind of creeps on up. Sure, but as we're going not everybody healthy, there's just too many other guys. Great question, but I just think there's too many other guys. It's way too deep.
Do they have like a rookie season?
Do they have like a rookie game, like the Rising Stars?
Yeah. Yep.
And actually, they did announce that roster.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that one we could look at maybe. Well, I think next week we could probably look at some of the other festivities of the All-Star game, and we'll definitely look at Rising Stars.
Oh my God!
Cool. Name I didn't think about Drew Holiday.
Other players, bro.
No. Drew's missed. How many games has Drew Holiday played in? Because I feel like he's missed a lot too.
Yeah, with that Bucks team too.
And listen, I like Drew Holiday. That trade that the Bucks made to get him was awesome, but you have to worry about his again, it's a numbers game with all the availability of everyone else. Mm-hmm. How long has he been hurt for? I wonder. Let me look.
Oh, I thought he's been healthy.
He's played 39 games, so that's not too bad. I just think I'd put Halliburton in over Holiday, and I think you're not going to get too many other guards past that. I just think I'd put Halliburton in.
Yeah, that's a good question though. Appreciate that. Cool.
What about? I was thinking about Fred VanVleet for
He's a cool story, but he's not having a great year. And Toronto's not getting 2 All-Stars in this year.
I agree.
He's getting
I
traded
thought
to
it
the
was better.
Clippers.
Yeah.
I saw that rumor. Yeah, I bet this trade deadline is going to be a hot mess.
Watch
Especially
it
with
turn
some
out
of
to
these
be
teams, what
nothing.
they're asking for.
Maybe.
Well,
I can't remember what
yeah.
I can't remember what trade deadline it was, what year. I think it was like 2-3 years ago. Like it was so hyped up for so many things, and it was just like we got like 2 trades, and I was like,
Yep.
yeah.
It's
Okay.
the most disappointing mid-season event of any of the sports, where everyone gets hopped up and there's like maybe one marquee trade that everyone can sink their teeth into.
It's like all that's gonna happen is Eric Gordon's gonna go to Milwaukee, and that's all we're gonna get.
Which, I mean, Eric Gordon is brought up every year. So, yeah, he needs to go. He's on the same level with Collins. And now Cam Reddish is up there because it seems like Reddish is always getting moved too. So, Eric Gordon, yeah, just move him. Let's get this over with. So,
And with Jay Crowder. Move Jay Crowder, too.
Well, Jay
That's
just
wild
put
that he
himself in
hasn't
a
been
trade
moved.
rumor. That's his issue. He's like, I'm going to be traded.
Yeah. But I mean, Phoenix isn't using him, so what's the point? And Crowder will be definitely a guy that's going to be wanted around the league because he fills that physical wing defender.
They can
knock down
shoot
a
the
three.
corner. Yeah.
I heard
Yeah,
Milwaukee
every
gave
team
up
wants
like
that.
Jordan Nwora, like 3 second-round picks and someone else for Jay Crowder, and they're waiting just for Phoenix to like respond.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a bad trade for Phoenix. I mean, they're
I
not
heard
using
Aaron.
him.
I heard Aaron Gordon might participate in the dunk contest, but I don't know if that was he was joking or.
That's
I don't
they
know.
already announced the participants. It's like a bunch of young dudes: KJ Martin, Mac McClung.
Nobody.
Mac McClung, that guy. Remember the hype around him?
He's in the
Yeah,
Rising
he's
Stars
chilling
draft too.
Oh,
He's
but
in the
he's
Rising
on-
Stars game too.
Matt McClung, he's on the Lakers, right?
No, he's on the Delaware
for a-
Blue,
he
whoever's
was
G
for a
League
hot
team
second.
that was.
I thought he was in the G League.
He is in the
Mhm.
G League right now. He's on the Delaware Blue.
But how's he in the
I don't know whose G League
All-Star?
affiliate that is.
But how's he in the dunk contest if he's in the G League?
Because the
Because
NBA
they can
wants
do
to
whatever
make
they
Mac
want.
McClung a thing. That's why.
That's why
That's
that's why they
basically
have
what it
him
is.
the Rising Stars game too, as one of the G League participants. Like him and Scoot Henderson about to have a game.
They want to make him a thing. Cool. So Cool said, "Hey, guys, someone else gotta go to the Lakers." And Anthony said, "What about Nick Claxton?" And you're clearly trolling with that one, Nick Claxton.
For the
All right.
dunk contest or for the All-Star
yeah,
game?
I guess
Because
that's for the All-Star.
either's probably a no, but I'm just
Yeah.
Is that a good
Hey,
defensive
hey,
season?
guys,
Hey
now?
guys,
no,
someone
no.
else
He's a
gotta
good
go.
player. Like he's not a bad dude by any means, but like, come on.
Yeah. All right, let's go to football.
Let's do it.
Before we get,
So-
what about Austin Reeves?
Jordan's thinking about that one.
It is a Laker.
I mean, he's hurt though, isn't he?
He could have
Well,
been
the Lakers
healthy,
isn't.
and it's still a no.
Wow. The Lakers hate is real, man. I see the
That's
Lakers
not
hate.
Lakers. Hey, that's legit. You're gonna tell me Austin Reeves is an all-star?
Probably not this year, man. Maybe next year.
So maybe next year.
You want to take a bet on that, man?
Well, maybe next year in all reserve.
I mean,
man.
if he's in the conversation for reserves, we got
Something bad
issues.
happened. Something bad happened
Yeah.
in the league.
Or something good happened with Austin Reeves. He just had like the
Right.
best breakout season there is.
Yeah, I guess Austin Reeves turned into Klay Thompson all of a sudden, like prime Klay before the knee injuries and all that. If he does that, fine. If not, not a chance.
Wait,
All
should we do
right,
the draft?
let's-
The draft or do the Super Bowls?
We should do this
No,
first.
we're
The draft
gonna
should be
do this
last.
because the mock draft will save that for the end.
Oh,
take a minute.
man.
Yeah,
All right.
Is Zion gonna be back by the?
I don't know per se.
Excuse me.
That it could all just be smoke and mirrors. I imagine what will probably happen is he won't play
If,
at
man.
all.
Oh,
Yeah, get on the podcast, brother.
Anthony. Oh, I gotta ask this. Yo, Anthony, put in
Woo,
the chat.
that's
who
cold.
Are you a fan of?
Like, who's your team, man?
Yeah, who's your team, Anthony? I gotta find this out.
Probably New York Knicks trash. And that's like,
I don't think he's a Knicks fan. He probably wouldn't care what the Lakers do. I wonder if he's a Warriors fan. That's my guess.
Sacramento.
We're
All
gonna
right,
And
play
I
some
think
bets on that.
Anthony, he's a Yankees fan because I know he's my Yankee brother for that one. But I don't know if he's on New York teams. I don't know.
Wizards. Anthony, you have my
Oh.
condolences. As someone who lives
I
in the
did not think
DMV,
So what's on that? What's the hate with
My
KD?
condolences.
I mean, AD. I mean, what is that? AD
I
never.
don't think it's hate. I think he's just going with the whole street clothes thing.
He's going with the basketball banter.
Yeah. All right. Once again, NBA will definitely be back on that next week. Let's get into this NFL so we can get to this mock draft, which I'm excited to do. So we had
do it.
Championship Sunday, which to some people, best football day of the calendar. Both games had a lot of hype coming into it. One game
Only
turned
one
out to
of
be pretty good. The other one, not so much. So I think we'll start with Eagles Niners, which it hurt me because I picked the Niners in this one. Although I didn't see Purdy getting hurt, Johnson getting hurt, Johnson acting like he had never played quarterback before, dropping shotgun snaps, and I don't know what he was doing. The Eagles, they put the beat down on them 31-7. Hurts didn't have a great game throwing the ball, but they didn't need it.
He didn't
Miles
really.
Sanders, Gainwell gashed that defense from the Niners to the tune of whatever, like over, was it like 200 yards they had on the ground or about. So looking at these two teams, we'll start with the Niners since they got eliminated.
Anthony.
Okay. Cool,
Oh,
fly,
man.
Eagles fly. Let's go. And
Bruh.
we'll put it. Jordan, no hate. I play more games than 2 games. AD.
Funny.
It's gonna be so fun.
Well,
to
no,
see
because like
Niners.
2K.
How do we remember
No,
him?
because that's a kind of wonky thing because like in 2K when you play my career, you can't get injured.
I don't know, bro. 80 finds a way.
No, I'm saying like you're my player, won't get hurt. So you're 100% healthy all year. So I mean that ain't no comparison. Now if they had an injury,
Just a joke.
segment. I know, but
Also, I'm gonna say this one last thing. How is it that LeBron's the highest ranked player in 2K?
he
That's
deserves it.
crazy.
Is he?
No.
He's
I haven't
98.
played 2K for a couple of years.
He's a 98.
That's a no.
That could be a whole episode.
Anyway, yeah. We'll moving on.
All right, so my analysis
about the
on this
49ers.
game.
Yep.
Yeah. So
I don't
Cool
wanna
said the
br-
D
I
line in
don't-
Philly is real. I agree. Do me a favor and y'all pick the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. We'll
Yo,
I'm wearing a
get to that.
Jalen Hurts
We'll get
shirt.
to it.
I'm wearing a Jalen Hurts shirt.
So
Cool.
my analysis on
Yeah.
this game, San Francisco Eagles. I don't want to break Eagles fans' hearts, but we all can admit that yes, that catch by Devontae Smith was an absolute one-handed nice catch, but
I mean, it wasn't a catch.
It wasn't a catch. That's where I was getting at. It wasn't a catch, but Phillies fans say it was a catch because they didn't review it, which is true. If I was, they were saying that the angles of the coach, like of the replays, weren't like, Shanahan couldn't see the angle.
It was tough because the defender was kind of towards the sideline as well.
But I don't want to make
Smith was
Cool,
rolling
Gene,
over
and
and-
Key mad, but I mean that wasn't a catch, brother.
You won't make them mad. They already won the game.
I know they already won the
Yeah.
game, but it's not gonna. And plus,
Hey,
the
man,
Eagles. I mean, are
speak
they?
your truth? Don't be worried about that.
Speak-
Go ahead, say
We
what you
speak
gotta
my
say.
truth.
Yeah.
Speak my truth. You want me to do that right now? My truth. All right. Oh shoot. All right. Well, I like how Eagles fans are so cocky about this win because obviously, like you said, Purdy was out. Bosa surprisingly got hurt on the sideline. Lane Johnson was hopping off sides. They didn't call that. And I mean, Hurts didn't really play the best game in the air as far as throwing the ball well. So I I don't know. Yes, they did win. They did win, but think about it. If they were at 99, if they were at 100%, the San Francisco, if they had like even Jimmy G in the game, healthy Jimmy G, it could have been a different game, or a healthy Trey Lance. Who knows what he could have done?
We don't know what a healthy Trey Lance can do. We haven't seen what he can
we
do.
haven't seen
I mean, y'all won cool, but y'all won on against a crippled team, man. I want to be happy about that.
Oh, well.
See, Cool said
I
the
will.
same thing.
Not his
Speak your
fault.
truth, Jordan.
I'm speaking it
Don't be
cool.
worried.
I'm feeling good, brother.
Can I just say, I think it's super
Yeah, go ahead.
ironic that Jordan is talking about if everybody was healthy and he's wanting Anthony Davis in the All-Star game, who is never on the court. Just a little bit of irony there with that. Yeah, it'd be great if everybody was healthy all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anthony says I was so mad it was like Josh Johnson was playing for the Eagles.
It kind of was. It was bad.
But we can all say that the Niners. I mean, whatever with what they had, basically they're going up against Chris McCaffrey at quarterback. I mean, I wouldn't be happy about that. Eagles fans, like, come on, like y'all should win this game. Like, but going to the game, San Francisco, they were number one in defense and offense. So I mean, they were matched up perfectly. But like you said, Kyle, like no one expected Purdy to be hurt. No one expected John Johnson to play like he did. And they were going to put in CMC as quarterback, because if he got hurt, then it was when they're tight end, they're Juszczyk as a quarterback. So it's like, I mean,
it would have been McCaffrey and Juszczyk.
And that would have been Deebo Samuel.
I kind of wanted to see
it. Yeah, but I mean, we can all agree that the Niners did what they could with what they had. But
Jordan, didn't you pick the Eagles to win?
No, I did. I wanted the Eagles to cheat, but no, I did. I picked the Super Bowl.
Like you're the only one that got the Super Bowl matchup right of the four of us.
I'm just saying, like,
you're the one that's mad about the Eagles winning.
No, I'm not as mad. I'm not mad. I'm just saying, like, I don't want to think on Twitter, oh, Devontae Smith caught the ball. Like, he didn't catch the ball. It was a good catch, but the ball was not complete. So that's the only thing I'm mad about.
As Cool says, if Hurts' shoulder wasn't hurt, he could have been better. If Lane Johnson wasn't hurt, he could have been better. So,
yeah, of
that's
course.
fair.
To me, the
That's
bigger
both sides.
takeaway wasn't just the injuries for San Francisco. It was how the team was just falling apart, both from a physicality standpoint and a mental standpoint. The big thing that stuck out to me with San Francisco was the penalties that they had, and how many of those penalties were frustration penalties. And some of them were ticky-tack, and you could argue that Philly didn't get any calls, and San Francisco had a whole bunch. The one that really stuck out that I didn't agree with was blocking the punter or roughing the kicker on the punt. But San Francisco just looked more undisciplined, and I think that was more out of frustration than anything. Philly didn't look dominant, but they didn't have to. They didn't need to. Their defensive line was scary. Their running game was awesome, and when Hurts needed to run, he did. They didn't really need to throw the ball. They found a way to win, and that's what you need. Like if I'm an Eagles fan, I'm not going to be complaining or bitching about how the team played because we're in the Super Bowl. Like that's what you came here to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Dylan, let's get your thoughts on this game. Let me see. So I'll ask this question to you. As we look at this game, should we look at it as the Eagles dominated the Niners, or is the Niners' injuries the bigger story in this one?
That's rough. I mean, definitely losing your quarterback who's taking you to the playoffs right when the game basically starts isn't really great. And then not having really an acceptable backup because, hey, this was actually your third quarterback and, your first two actually got injured. So it's not like you have more on this roster to really help out. I picked the Eagles going into this game, and I felt like the Eagles were going to win this game, even if Brock Purdy finished the rest of the game. I said the Eagles are one of those teams that, like, if they're not going to beat you on the ground, if they have a bad day on the ground, they'll beat you in the air. And if they have the bad day in the air, they'll figure out a way to beat you on the ground. And that's basically what we saw. I feel like we would have gotten to a point where, the Eagles probably would have still broken away. I don't think the 49ers were looking too great, with Purdy in there before he got injured. But to each their own, we never know what could happen. We could have a Trevor Lawrence-like comeback from one of them. So it's tough. I think the bigger story will probably have to be just San Francisco's injuries, especially with how early Purdy's injury came. You know, it seemed like San Francisco was a lot better of a second half team in the playoffs, especially when it came down to Purdy and how he played as well too. So who knows? I definitely think that it will come out as like, hey, like, you know, this whole playoff run seemed a little bit for Philadelphia, which is not their choice. They don't get to pick their opponents who they play or pick what happens to their opponents. But I think the bigger story out of it will probably be, you know, San Francisco was injured. Because when you talk about this NFC Championship, people are going to be like, what? You know, the one where San Francisco almost had to play their fullback at quarterback? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, one point, Dylan, to add on to that is, and this is nothing against Philadelphia because they are a great team, but their playoff schedule up until now has been pretty easy. Their regular season schedule was pretty like, what are the great quarterbacks that they've played? That's what the only thing I'd be concerned about is their great quarterbacks that they've had to go up against for their defense. But I still think Philly would probably win this game just with how the defensive line for Philly seemed to be overwhelming San Francisco. But in 2 years from now, when we talk about this game, it's going to be remembered when San Francisco ran out of quarterbacks. That's going to be the narrative that survives.
All right. So Jeremy put on here, what about Sean Payton going to the Broncos? Get into that a little bit because I do want to talk about, in terms of the Niners, it looks like DeMeco Ryans is going to be the next coach of the Houston Texans.
Yep, going back home.
What are your thoughts on that move? Do you think it's the right job for him to take? And what do you think about on the Texans' end? Did they get the right guy?
See, I was confused. That's why in the group chat earlier, because I thought that it was like Saints and Denver, and then I thought he was heading back to New Orleans, and then, but
that's Sean Payne. We'll talk about him later on.
Oh, that's
I'm talking about DeMeco Ryans.
Oh! I thought you meant Sean Payton because Jeremy brought it up. No. I mean,
bringing that up made me think of DeMeco Ryans. So
DeMeco Ryans. Yeah, I definitely.
Oh, we should talk about that. Yeah, I'm curious what Dylan thinks about that. On the
I mean, the DeMeco Ryans signing is very interesting. I mean, he was definitely looked at as one of those big defensive scheme coordinators. He was going to do a lot on the defensive end. It's going to be interesting to see what he wants to do in this draft. You know, this is a team that's going to be in a rebuilding effort, so he's going to have his
the fire, man. Oh my god. I
mean,
mean,
it could quarterbacks. He'll have his choice of quarterbacks when it comes to this draft. Hopefully, you know, if nobody trades out of that first spot, it's going to be interesting, you know, on a defensive standpoint, and as from just an overall coaching standpoint, he's someone that if you could give him a roster and give him the time to do something, he could probably build something good out of that. But it's just, what's the Texans' timetable? Because they've shown before that sometimes they're willing to wait and then sometimes they're not. And it's just a matter of one of those things. Are they going to give him the right pieces? Are they going to give him the right things to build a roster out of this? Because we saw what he did with the 49ers. We saw what he did with that 49ers defense, and we saw how good it ran. So if he can get to anywhere near that and have a chance to actually work with these players and create relationships with them, and they gets the proper time, I think it could be a great signing. I mean, obviously he was it seems like the biggest head coaching free agent there was, because I mean, it seemed like Denver wanted him over Sean Payton. They were waiting on DeMeco Ryans' decision before they went after Sean Payton. So, I mean, I think that says all it needs to say.
Yeah, my biggest concern with DeMeco Ryans a great hire. I think he's going to be great. It's just the Texans haven't been a very stable franchise or organization as a whole, and that'd be my only concern. Adding into the fact that we are seeing in the league more offensive head coaches, offensive coordinators turning head coaches that have more success than the defensive guys. But I would hope that in the NFL, with the Texans rather, that DeMeco Ryans could instill that culture. I think he could be the guy that could do it. And as a player who used to play for Houston, I think if anybody's going to do it, it's probably going to be him. I hope he doesn't get fired in under 3 years, Anthony, but I wouldn't be shocked either given the state of the franchise. But I think it was a good hire. It was the right choice for sure.
Yeah. And I guess reportedly it's a 6-year deal. So my hope is you give him a 6-year deal. He gets to draft a quarterback early on in the draft. And you get your, 5 years with the rookie deal. He should get at least 5 years to prove, he could turn it around there. Because I think defensively, Houston's not that bad. And I feel like DeMeco Ryans going there with what he did with the San Francisco defense. I wouldn't be surprised if that Houston Texans defense takes a little bit of a leap next year. It'll just be, who does he
Hey, he
bring in
got
as an
3 years.
offensive coordinator? That's going to be key for him. And who that guy is, what kind of system they run, because they have who's the running back I'm thinking of?
You mean
Pierce.
Pierce.
He's probably your best player offensively right now. I mean, that's just being real with it. So they're going to need a quarterback. They're going to need probably wide receivers, because we already know Brandon Cooks has kind of said he's not down for
Get
the
me
whole
out of here.
rebuild.
I ain't trying to be in this Houston.
Yeah, so they're gonna have to overhaul that offense. So, like I
Right.
said, we're gonna have to see who he takes for an offensive coordinator. That's gonna be key for him.
Do y'all see D'Amico going with like starting? Well, do y'all see him starting out with a rookie QB or getting a veteran to help rookie QB, or do you think they're gonna off the gate get a rookie QB?
I
To
would
answer your
hope
question,
the
Anthony, he got
negotiation-
3 years.
Yeah, and that turned into 1, right? But I would hope the attraction of the job was having that second pick, having your choice of Stroud or Bryce Young, whichever one's left, based off of what happens with the first pick. But I feel like that's kind of been an attraction to the job. And, if D'Amico
Man,
Ryans
they
takes
get-
the job, he has to have an offensive coordinator in mind to
Mhm.
bring with him. So I think they start with a young
Yeah, he
quarterback.
might pull someone off the front end of staff tree, bring someone with him.
That usually happens. You have a successful team.
So that
Teams
could-
want to.
You might see him plucking some of his defensive assistants with him,
Yeah, exactly.
But
But
I
I
hope-
could see
I hope
them
it's not under.
signing a veteran quarterback as well.
But like Anthony said, I hope it's not just under 3 years, man. I mean, people like D'Amico Ryan, he's a very well respected, coach. I mean, I hope he stays around. man.
I like him saying Leftwich as an OC.
That'd be an interesting pairing.
That would be a very interesting pair.
Yeah, but I think with the past couple of years with Houston and what everybody's saying about the organization, it would. I mean, this not to put it past them, but to go get a guy in D'Amico Ryans who a lot of people see as the next, head coach in this league, and if you fired him after a year or two, like you did Lovie Smith and Cully, I mean, at that point, I really couldn't see how Houston could even go about hiring a guy after that.
Who would want
That's
that
who-
job after that?
Exactly.
So I think this is the guy that they have to give time to, whether he works out or not. But they're gonna have to give
Like,
them
let
years
him
just-
work out his contract,
Yeah.
unless he takes you guys 0-16 or 1, 2, 3 win seasons back to back to back. That's when you
yeah.
should probably question it.
Yep.
But if he's getting steady progression, or at least he's kind of staying in that area, let him just fight out his contract until.
Yeah, I
it
just saw.
matures.
I saw a funny picture on Twitter. It was like LeBron and is Lovie Smith.
We're
It said smiling
talking
through.
about relevant people. We don't want to hear about no LeBron.
I'm saying that the comment was like, I can't.
I know.
Smiling through it all. Can't believe this is my life, because he had a quote saying that being the head coach of the Houston Texans is my dream job and my family is thrilled to be back at H-Town, D'Amico Ryan. So saw that on Twitter.
Mhm. Yeah,
But no, he definitely deserves a shot at head coach. Very good pickup. Yeah, I mean, imagine if they get well, I'm not sure what number do they have in the first round? They have 3
They have
or
2 and
second.
I think it's
They got-
13.
They got 2
Yep.
and 13. So imagine if they get if they get like a Bryce Young, man. That's a great pickup for a rookie quarterback. Or CJ Stroud. Or who's that quarterback from Kentucky? That's like
Levis.
Levis. But
Or
we'll
what
see.
if they decide to go, hey, we got a defensive-minded head coach. Why not give him a defensive centerpiece at this number 2 overall pick and wait till next year's draft? Why don't we get Jalen Carter, because inside linemen are tougher to get?
I'll
Could be
see.
that.
If that's the
Go
case,
that route.
if that's the case, you see them kind of reach out to Derek Carr.
Hey,
They could. I mean,
I
we'll have
mean,
to
that's
see what happens
intriguing.
with the Jets and stuff. If Carr's left out there, why not? As Anthony puts, I would trade 13 for 3 more picks. I mean, they need
Depends
a lot of
where they
talent.
are. Depends where they are.
If you
Depends
can get it
who's on the
a late
board.
first rounder and a couple of thirds and fourths, yeah. If you can trade, I would recommend getting 2 first-round talents if possible, even if it means you trade back to 20 or 25. that's fine dropping in those, but you need to spend 2 first-round picks on just talent. You need to get people in there that you can hope
This
progress.
team needs talent. This
Yes.
team just doesn't
Oh,
have
yeah.
talent, and they need the draft. They need the picks. They
It's hard
just
to
have
see
to
that.
get dudes.
Did I hear what Coach Dante said in the group chat earlier? He was like, ball headed. Did I hear the audio message? So, I mean, I don't think what Jake said. I don't think Coach would like that, man. Because he's a Houston Texans fan, but
I mean,
No,
they
but
could
you're
go
true,
several
like,
ways with it though.
yeah.
Because it'd be hard if Jalen Carter's sitting there at number 2, not to run up there and be like, let's
Or
get
Will
Jalen
Anderson.
Yeah,
Or Will
Right,
Anderson.
depending on
Let's say someone
depending on
trades
how's
up.
number 1. Yeah,
there's a lot of dudes to take.
yeah.
A
Now,
lot
if
of
somebody
dudes on
trades up to
defense.
1 and takes Stroud or Young, that might push Houston to take the other guy
Yep.
second because they don't want to. They may not want to get left out of the quarterback, group. But if somebody jumped up to 1, or if Chicago State they took Anderson, if they took Carter at 2, and if they kind of vision that come 13, one of those quarterbacks may fall there. I mean, that's one way to go about it. But let's go to the AFC because, like I said, got this mock draft we got to do. So Cincinnati and Kansas City. Kansas City wins it 23-20. We all know how the game ended with was it Osai pushing Mahomes out of bounds, which I mean he was out of bounds by he had 2 feet out of bounds and he pushed him. I mean, you can't fully get upset at him because guy that big chasing down Mahomes, stopping the momentum was tough. I think he actually hurt himself on the play as well. Now, I saw the video after the game of, I can't remember which linebacker was basically, talking about why'd you hit him out of bounds, whatever, trying to make it seem like Osai was the reason why they lost. And I did not like that video because it's like, I get it. You're mad you lost the game.
This is my last year. Why'd you hit the quarterback?
And if this is your last year, bye. Deuces, get out then. What do you need to make it worse on him when the game ends? CBS is zooming in on this dude crying into his helmet.
Yeah.
Oh
I
my
didn't
goodness! So I
Yeah.
hate it. I was watching that game with my dad because he lives
Yeah.
with us, and the first thing I stood up and I was like, "Get the fucking camera off of it!" Sorry for the get the camera off of him. I don't want to see this dude crying.
Exactly.
He's
It's like,
crying. He was hyperventilating, and you have to know that there's not one person in the world that hates him more than him in that
Yeah.
moment. I don't need to see it. You could give me one shot and then pull away. I don't need 18. I felt like there's 18 different shots of it. I don't need it.
Yeah.
If I was Jim Nance, I would have said, "Hey guys, get the camera off of him. We don't need to see it." Or Tony Romo. One of those guys should have said it. I'll get off my soapbox because I was
No,
so
I
riled
agree.
up.
I
I
agree.
with that.
I agree. I kept seeing it and they kept panning it back to him after they already cut away from it.
Then
And it's
again,
why are you
it's
going
not-
back?
Yeah, but then again, it wasn't dumb flag. I mean, obviously, but then again, you're a player in that moment. Mahomes is fast. He was hobbled. He didn't. I mean, he thought that he would have stayed in bounds. I mean, it's a knick-knack kind of flag. But like Anthony said, I mean, it's not the reason why they lost. I mean, it was the last reason why they lost the game because it was the last kind of play of the game. But there was a thing where I saw on TikTok where I tried to this whole people, make up crazy things, but I think it was a minute or 22 left, and Burrows had that intentional grounding call.
I didn't like that call. I didn't like
And
that call.
then the cheat Mahomes had the same exact throw, with 19 seconds before that play, and they didn't call it, but they said that there was a receiver in the area of Mahomes, so that's why they didn't call it. But then again,
There was a lot of ref stuff going on in that game that didn't leave a lot of people
Bengals fans
too
are
happy.
For officiating, I'll just say this: as someone who's as a Saints fan, and as someone who's had their hearts ripped out by bad officiating in a conference championship game,
oh man,
I'll just say Bengals fans have every right to be pissed at the officials. But my takeaway from both games this weekend wasn't so much at the NFL, because you see it. NFL was rigged to get these teams in. I didn't see that. What I saw was more of just incompetent officiating, which is almost worse than it being rigged, where the officiating just looked really, really bad. And it's something the NFL has to do to fix it, where everybody could see. Because I agree, that intentional grounding call, I thought Perine was in the field of play for that pass. So I didn't like
I
the
kept
call.
seeing people saying like the problem was Perine wasn't eligible or something.
He's a
I was
running
like,
back. The only
yeah,
thing I could see with that call, and I don't remember this play, but I know the ball has to get back to the line of scrimmage, and
I
maybe
think
that
an
was
issue
it.
too. I think
Maybe that
I
was
think it was
it.
behind the line of scrimmage.
But
yeah.
Mahomes had the
regardless-
same exact play, like
No,
same exact
Mahomes
throw.
went beyond the line of scrimmage. That
And
was the
his,
difference.
his for sure did. The officiating left a lot to be desired, and I think
Yeah.
the league needs to fix it. I don't want to talk about it here. We can
Yeah.
save that for the offseason
Yeah.
when we need more content or whatever. But the officiating was just garbage on
I
both
think
sides.
both NBA and NFL officiating is terrible.
Jordan, you gotta get past it, man.
No, I'm not saying.
Talking about the
I'm
NFL, man. We're not talking about the Lakers.
No, I'm not
You gotta
saying. I'm just saying as a whole, like of a league, like.
Get past it.
I'm not trying to. No, I'm saying the NBA as a whole, the referees have to be better. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, if you want to
Yeah,
be
it's-
honest, for these two
Yeah.
sports, it's tough.
It is.
Oh,
NBA,
absolutely, it's tough.
Like you go to a
It's
game, you
tough.
go to a game and watch the NBA. It's like, yeah, on TV they look fast, but live it's like, I
Yeah, we're
get why
fast.
they miss some calls. And as physical as some guys are, it's all so it is what it is with officiating.
Yeah.
I wanted to point out this comment from Anthony because this is where I think the game
Yeah, the
was
old,
lost to
yeah, because
Cincinnati.
the Bengals O line was. We all knew that. Wasn't really surprised.
Yeah, but they made it past the Ravens. They made it past Buffalo with this offensive line. So I think Cincinnati fans were optimistic that the offensive line was gonna
Man, we lost.
last in this.
We
one.
lost off of a fumble return.
Just
Jordan,
one thing to keep in mind. We're not talking about the Ravens,
mean-
man. One thing to keep in mind for Kansas City that's different than Buffalo.
Mhm.
Buffalo had Von Miller out. Kansas City had the second most sacks in the NFL this past season. They get after dudes. They are a fantastic team when it comes to sacking teams. And in most seasons, they might be first. It's just that the Eagles were far and away the most teams that got the most sacks on opposing teams. This team was great. And I do
Mhm.
feel like Cincinnati was able to adjust the offensive line throughout the game compared to the start, but it still wasn't enough. The defensive line versus offensive line was the key matchup. And that was my when we did predictions last week, I said, what's going to be the key deciding factor? It's the O-lines, O-line, D-line. And that's what it was, plain and simple.
Yeah, because that O line, they couldn't open up any running lanes from Mixon. He was
He had a
completely
bad
taken
game.
out of that.
There was
game.
no running game.
And
none.
that's what really hurt them as well. Anthony put this. This is going back to the Osai. He might have went home to hate notes, which showing him 20, 25 times doesn't really help that either.
Nope.
Anthony also says that wasn't the worst penalty. The Chiefs getting 5 downs.
Yeah, that was pretty rough.
That was
Cool said,
confusing.
shaking my head. Yeah,
That was bad. That was bad.
Yeah, like
Not a
you
good
said,
look.
it
Not a
was
good look.
Rough week. Yeah. All right. So, all right. So look at two last questions before we get to the mock draft thing. So looking at the two teams that lost in San Francisco and Cincinnati, who do you think's in a better position going into next season?
Oh, I'm going to
Cincinnati.
jump on this. It's Cincinnati. Like, they have the QB.
Mhm.
Once you have an elite QB that can make things go, your whole life changes. Like, drawing from personal experience, I was a Saints fan. I didn't have anybody before we had Drew Brees. And then
Mhm.
once we had Drew Brees, there was always some hope. Even when we had the league, the worst defense the league has ever seen, there was hope. You could do something. Cincinnati has a dude. Like, you watched that game on Sunday night, those were the two best quarterbacks in the league. Like, then they are so far ahead of 3, 4, and 5. They just can make it work. They have a great roster. They seem to have decent coaching, and they have what it matters. San Francisco's concern is the quarterback and their health and what they're going to do. What can Brock Purdy do? What are they going to do with him? What are they going to do with, I know Jimmy G's a free agent. Trey Lance, we don't know what they want to do with him. At what point do you just give up? There's a lot more questions, and you lose D'Amico Ryan, which is a big, big loss on your coaching staff. Yeah, Cincinnati easily. Bengals fans, you have every right to be upset, but like, this isn't the Bungles anymore. Like, you're going to be here. You got a dude.
I think the only flaw I have with the Bengals is their O line. They got to get more healthier. But it
I
can
mean,
be
you
fixed
would
in the
figure
draft.
with the offseason, they should be
Oh,
able to upgrade the offensive line.
So now I can say
They were supposedly did last offseason.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's always an issue. But do you guys agree Cincinnati's probably in a better position than San Francisco?
I hate saying it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bengals
Yep.
are they're
Yep.
better, more.
All
Yeah.
right.
Comes down to quarterback.
How many years does Burr have on his rookie contract? Like, is this his last year, or is this year going into this year? Is his last year?
I think that he sees the big pay bump in like 2 years.
Yeah,
So I think the extension might come this. I think he already has the extension, but like the pay bump doesn't come until the following season. But I could be wrong. I'm just pulling things on the spot here. But that is a good point, though, Jordan. Is that once that money comes out for Joe Burrow, which he deserves, you start to lose some of that depth that Cincinnati's been really enjoying, especially in that their receiver core.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not going to be able to pay T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, and Tyler Boyd.
Anthony says I would sign Burrow early. Yeah. All right.
Signed
One last
Burrow
question.
yesterday.
We're not going to break down the Super Bowl yet because that's for next week.
Yep.
But looking at Philly and Kansas City, who should open as the favorite? Just really quickly.
Philly.
Dylan, Philly, Jake,
Philly.
Jordan.
The question, but for who's going
Should
to win?
open up as the betting favorite.
Yeah, who should open
Betting
up as the
favorite.
favorite?
I think it's even.
What kind of cop-out answer is that?
I mean, you got to be honest. If you had to take betting odds on who would be the favorite, it being even would probably be a high betting odd.
I mean, yeah, but
That's true, but
we're taking even out of
We're not
it.
asking what it is. We're saying make a call.
I go Chiefs.
I'd probably go Philly. All right. So now let's go ahead and get into this mock draft. So let me pull that up for you guys really quickly. This is going to be a lot of fun. So for those of you tuning in, since it is the off season, we're going to do a quick little mock draft. We're going to do 3 rounds. We're not going to do 7. We might save that for maybe once we get closer to the draft. But I will be representing for the Patriots. I've got my Bill Belichick hat on. Jordan is the Ravens. Dylan's the Seahawks. Jake will be the Saints. So let's see here. Where did it go? All right. Like I said, so we got Baltimore, New England, Seattle. Where are you at?
We can't find them in
Go.
man. Oh, there you go.
Oh, what'd you say?
Pacific
Jordan?
Northwest is hard to
I said,
find.
I said we can't even find the Seattle Seahawks on that list. Well,
That's disrespectful.
Dylan,
He's just upset. He's just upset Lamar Jackson is leaving.
Oh my God! Here we go. Actually,
happened.
well,
It's
no,
happened.
I guess we'll talk about that next show. But he did. We talked about him getting Ravens getting him in franchise tag him unexclusive. So or no, exclusive. I mean, so that means no teams can sign him. So it's not official.
Doesn't mean he has to sign it.
Right.
Exactly. It's going to get ugly. We're not going to get into it, man, but it's
Don't
don't be holding. All I'm going to say is don't be holding your breath. We'll leave it at that.
Okay. All right, so here we go. Let's get this started. Here we go.
Yeah, let's see how this is gonna work. Man, let's see.
So we have Seattle on the clock. So Dylan, this is for you. This is a trade that's been offered by the
No.
Bears. Okay. Jets trade.
That's a garbage trade.
So I'm assuming
No,
you're
I'm
saying
keeping.
no?
I'm sorry. I'm keeping this 5th pick. I'm keeping this 5th.
What
pick.
if when I was in that earlier? What is the 2 point? Is that like round? Oh, 2.
That's
Yeah.
the second round.
Yeah,
so
it's
the
round
second
and the
round,
overall
64.
pick.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Man, these
All right, so
these
you're
trades are
Some of them
These
are
guys
good.
should be
like
GMs.
that Jets ones was interesting. That Jets one was a little interesting, but other than that, no. So man, wow. Okay, so can you go do a recap and look at our first 4 real quick, just so
wow.
you should be able to. I thought you could do a swipe over type thing. I know you can on the phone, but who knows?
Why won't it let me? Okay, that's weird. Hold on. Yeah, won't let me go back.
Well, the drafted
this-
players were what? Young.
Yeah.
It's looking like Stroud probably went 1.
Stroud, Young, I guess Carter, and Who are we missing?
Who knows? I'm taking
Yeah,
Will
I don't
Anderson Jr.
All
A
right.
plus. A
Yeah,
plus.
Yeah.
that seems like the
Yeah,
obvious
I
pick,
think
A+.
that's like the obvious pick there. I mean, I'll go a little like explanation. I mean, if Seattle got Will Anderson at number 4, I think they'd be ecstatic to have that. He's the number 1 overall prospect, arguably. I mean, Seattle's a team that needs a lot of defensive line help, whether that be edge or just more D line help. Period. So if Will Anderson or Jalen Carter or Tyree Wilson or Miles Murphy are all there at that 5th spot, Seattle's going to be drooling for any one of those guys. And
Yep.
if Will Anderson's there, him being the number 1 guy, they would love that even more.
All right, so now I'm on the clock at 14, and now thinking as Bill Belichick. This
Oh,
trade
he
here,
loves to trade down.
and I kind of do too. Now this one, looking at lines, you going back 4 spots for a 5th and a 7th next year. Okay, I mean Atlanta's clearly desperate for this pick, but I'm not going to, completely
No,
move
you
out
need
of the first
you need
round.
something in the first round for that.
I mean, Kansas City giving us almost last pick in the first round, plus a 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. I mean, you throw us out Bill Belichick, he probably jumps at it.
He said the amount of 6th-round tight ends I can get with that.
Giants 25, a 4th, a 6th, 5th, and a 7th next year. I mean, looking at the board, I probably would stay here.
I'd stay. If I were you, I'd stay there, man.
Man,
Yeah.
Bijan Robinson there sitting at 14's little nice, isn't it?
Yep.
I wouldn't go running back here. So let me reject
Really?
these.
Yeah, he's pretty
As
good.
much as you love your Ramondre Stevenson and Damian Harris combo, if Bijan Robinson was there, you wouldn't take him at 14? Wouldn't consider it?
The guy I'm looking at is Ringo. Because
Kelly
Okay.
Ringo?
cornerback is going to be a big need, especially with questions about Jonathan Jones, whether he comes back or not.
Yep.
And with it being a passing league, you can really never have too many cornerbacks.
It's a good call.
I'd go Ringo here at 14.
That's a good call.
I like Cam Smith over someone like Kelly Ringo, but it's good or either way.
See, I don't have
Seahawks
another
back
pick.
on the clock.
At pick 20, man, that's tough. Reject the
That's
trades real
Chargers.
quick. I want to see who's on the board
Well, I
for
can
Seattle.
still do that and then go back to the
Yeah.
trade offers.
Can you go to? Oh, okay. So the dude I want is still there. Trenton Simpson, number 20 from the 24 linebacker. Yeah, Seattle again. Defensive needs should be our biggest want. We have later picks to get some of that O-line depth we need. If we want to get someone as a slot receiver, we can look at that. Defense should be our biggest worries. That was our biggest worries all season. Trenton Simpson's a linebacker that we could plug in there, rather he play a left outside linebacker or right side linebacker. Jordan Brooks won't be in there for the start of the season towards ACL. So we're definitely going to need a lot of help. And Uchenna Nwosu was a plus. He's someone that will probably stay on that left side and be great there. So getting someone like Trenton Simpson will be perfect. We'll just fill out more of the depth. We need players who can play now. And if our biggest need is defense, if this Seattle team can go back to the playoffs with Geno, and all we need to do is just bulk up with that defense with stars and people who can play now, I think Simpson's is a great pick.
All right. Well, let me go through the offers really quickly. So Chargers are 2nd, plus some picks for next year. Broncos are
Denver.
3rd, 5th, 6th, and
Denver
5th
can
and
give me
7th
what
next
Denver
year.
can. I'll trade. I'll always trade with Denver. They help me. Let me out. Have Russ. Let him cook over there.
You think they learned their lesson after the first time, right?
Titans
I didn't.
for number 41 in their first rounder next year. And then Kansas City once again with 1st, 3rd, 4th, 6th, and a 7th,
Ooh.
plus 2nd round next year.
I would probably take that. That second on is a little bit of a sweetener. Only to drop down 10 picks. I'd probably take that. But if Trenton Simpson's there, I want Trenton Simpson. So I'm taking
Okay.
it.
So we're taking Simpson.
Got 3 more picks left. That's nice.
All right,
Ravens.
Baltimore, you're on the clock.
Let me see the.
So let me show you the
that's,
board.
that's the only trades we got.
Oh, you want to see the trades first? I
No,
thought you
no,
wanted to see the
no.
board.
I was just curious to see what we have.
Yeah. So you have Washington offering.
That's all we got for Washington.
Second pick. I mean, next year again, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and a 7th. Falcons are giving you 2nd round, 4th, 7th, plus
like, I ain't
first
giving up
next
First
year,
round next year,
third.
though.
I mean, if the Falcons are bad next year, that could look pretty good. And then Dolphins.
Yeah, but you drop that many spots.
Yeah, that's true. So that's your 3 offers. Any of
No,
them
I'm not.
interesting?
I'm gonna draft.
All right. So
So
now showing Anthony, he's
I
saying
think-
Ravens going to draft. a
yeah,
wide
so I'm
receiver.
going receiver definitely. I'm choosing between
You want
the receiver from TCU.
well,
Quentin,
he has to go to the receiver list to see.
Quentin
who's
John
picked.
Let's
to go to receivers. But I was gonna do Boutte, but because he's 6 foot. But Quentin Johnson is 6'4".
Looks like Johnson might.
Yeah,
be off
Johnson's
the
been
board.
picked.
Oh,
Yeah,
then
he's
I'm
been
gonna-
picked. He was
so
like a
I'm
top
going-
10 dude.
So I'm going Boutte, or am I saying that right?
I mean, that's a fair pick. Keyshawn Boutte was,
he'll be good.
projected to go up to 14 at some point early in the season to the Patriots. So him
Alright.
definitely going in the late first rounder, especially to a team like the Ravens.
Or, but
He has
I
a lot of
know-
upside.
Is Ohio State running receiver there, or no? He's got.
It
picked.
doesn't look like. No, he just went to the
Smith is gone.
Chargers.
Yeah, Smith literally went the pick before.
Yeah, sorry, I'm going.
The Chargers
Boutte.
did that. That's. Ooh.
That's the Chargers.
I mean, are they
That'd be
planning
interesting.
on maybe Allen going, or I guess
Mike
maybe
Williams?
Williams Insurance?
Probably some depth for
We're
injuries.
going wide receiver, so yeah, I'm going Boutte
All right,
from LSU.
locked it in. Looks like the Saints are coming up on the clock.
Thank you today, because otherwise I won't have a first round pick.
you.
Oh
Right.
man. Ooh.
Oh yeah, I guess that's true. Thanks, Denver.
Okay,
Hey,
what are the-
Denver's really helping us out, aren't they? Giving us first round
gift that
picks all
keeps on
3 of you.
giving, right? Let's see
So
what else
here-
we got
here-
for the trade
here's the
offers.
Raiders,
Let me see
okay.
real quick here.
Colts,
No, I don't want to do that.
Panthers.
Of
No,
course, the
that-
Panthers short
that's
you with a bad
garbage.
trade offer.
I know that's
Right,
ridiculous. The
right, go
Bengals,
figure. No, I'm not doing that.
Browns.
No,
Yeah, man.
that doesn't excite me. Man, fuck the
Falcons.
Falcons, man. I'm sorry. I mean, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah,
They
the
gave you a
Saints
3rd and a
did, I mean,
7th.
yeah.
They said that's worth.
I'm gonna say no just for the sake of this, but I'd think long and hard about the Raiders just because that first round pick, and we just don't know what or Vegas is going to be next year. It really
I mean,
depends
that's definitely
that's
an interesting
enticing
call.
to get a first or third next year on top of that. But let's just see what we got here for
All right, so let's go
players.
back to all here. So here's
What do you think
your
the
Oh,
board.
Saints
man.
should probably draft like a position of need if with this 29th pick now since you got one? You know, that wasn't something
Yeah,
you
let's-
could really think
yeah.
about before till today.
Right. No, it's tough because the Saints have a lot of needs.
Mhm.
And man, when I was doing my mock draft, it went completely different than this, and that's super funny. Honestly, I think I'm taking Robinson. I hate taking running backs in the first round as a rule, but the Saints
Love it.
need a
I would've
running
done
back.
the
So
same.
in my mock draft that I had, which I still have pulled up, I had his name just left me. I had Gibbs from Alabama at 29, and I was really
Okay.
stoked with that because the Saints, we don't know what Kamara is going to do as far as his suspension. They really struggled in the running game, and if they need some more depth, they need ability to get short yardage situation. As a general rule, you don't like to see running backs go, but Robinson there, that's hard to pass up. I'm taking Robinson.
Okay.
Give me that A.
Yeah. Now
Give
we're
me
into
that.
the second round.
Seattle,
See-
reject the trades. I don't care. They're all bad.
Okay.
I'm keeping my picks.
All right.
So this is where it gets a little interesting for being a Seattle fan. You know, I got 2 of my defensive needs. You know, looking at a safety would be a little something I would like to consider. You know, Brian Branch sitting there at 37 is really interesting. You don't know what's going to be going on with Jamal Adams. You never know what's going on with Jamal Adams. Will he play next year? Will he not? I think that's a position we really do need a lot of depth at. Man, just looking at some of the other players.
Wait,
Osiris
what,
Torrance is
Go
really
ahead,
good.
Dylan. I had a question because, like, on Mel Kiper's list, we're 22.
Yeah, you're 22 on this one.
Okay, because so for some reason we're 23. I don't know what's going on. But Mel Kiper had Quentin Johnson, but he's off the list. But I was just confused where we were 22, 23. But go ahead, Dylan.
Yeah, no, you're good. Osiris Torrance will be good. We have Damian Lewis, who is a guard we drafted 2 years ago, who's been great as a left guard, but we still need another person on that inside. Cyrus Torrance can play both sides when it comes to guards, so he can just be a plug and play type of guard that we need in there, which would be plus. But man, that kind of made me want to lead that way. But I think I'm still going to go Brian Branch. I can't bet on Jamal Adams and Ryan Neal being our other side of that safeties. It's just not things I can bet on. We have an Alabama product who's really good as a safety position, probably one of the best safeties in this year's class, arguably. And him just sitting there in the second round picks on. I can't pass up on an offer like that.
Yeah, I'll just say this, Dylan. That was the guy I was leaning between like what I had. It's like it's either that or Bijan. So great pick, fantastic value for where you got him.
Oh yeah, no, I saw him there and I was like, man, that makes it a little bit harder on what I wanted to do because I was thinking about taking like slot receivers here. Looking at that and he's there.
Saints on the clock. You got the offer from the Browns and Kansas City.
Oh man. Ooh, I'm gonna. So I would take that if I was the GM for real. Like I would just because that a first round pick for the 40th, and I only dropped down a few spots. For the sake of this though, I'm just gonna keep it 40. But just for simple. But that's a Kansas City. I don't think Andy Reid and the Chiefs would ever do that. There's no way.
Right.
Okay. So I'm getting some.
Okay. Yeah, I was getting feedback with it. It's good now.
Okay, we're good.
Yeah.
All right, let me look here. Is Tuli Tuapolto, the defensive line from USC, is he on here at all? Or did he get taken?
He's right there.
I'm taking that dude. I picked him. I looked at his stuff. He is a fantastic defensive stopper. He's a big dude. He could come off of the edge, which the Saints need. He's going to be able to plug in the run really, really well. The Saints' run defense was their weak spot, and he just provides a lot of size and intensity. And I think he would be the perfect fit in that spot. So that's who I'm going with is Tuli. And I'm going to butcher his name, and I apologize, but that's who I want to go with.
All right, so now I'm on the clock. I mean, Kansas City, Belichick takes this.
They're smoking something. This is like what Belichick dreams of as he's going to sleep. Like this is his dream.
Yeah, I would take this in a heartbeat. Tampa Bay.
No.
Steelers. First round next year.
That actually is a good deal. You drop down 3 spots and you get a first round. Yep, that's a good deal.
Do that one. Now I don't see Houston giving up all this capital.
They need quantity over quality over almost anything.
Yeah. So yeah, Kansas City won, and Pittsburgh would definitely entice me. But like I said, for the first one, I'm gonna go ahead and just make a pick here.
Maybe when we go before the draft, we go full crazy trade scenarios and just blow it all up. Maybe we do that in March.
I'm definitely down for that. So looking at this one, where do we go here? I know everybody's going to want wide receiver for New England. I know I did one draft and I did go with Mims, but I wouldn't go with him here.
No, that's too early.
Yeah.
That's too early.
D-line is definitely a need. I don't know if I would go there either. I kind of want to go tackle because that's something they definitely need. Interesting. Linebacker.
I think they need help at linebacker.
Definitely need
help at
linebacker.
Sewell's a good linebacker too. He's got really good instincts. He was one of the guys that was on my board. He's got good instincts, really good attack, like able to read on attack. Seems to be pretty fast. Not gonna tell you how to do your board. I looked at Sewell for a while for the Saints when I was doing my mock drafts earlier today.
Right. No, because linebacker, you're looking at Bentley, who was definitely a run stopper. Was it McMillan, kind of undersized. Duggar kind of plays linebacker. So I'm not against this. To be honest with you, I probably would go here. I'll take the A.
Yep.
That's cool with me. Seattle again. So I'm assuming you're not taking it. I mean, that Giants trade would definitely be enticing.
Oh my goodness. You almost have to take that one just for even though
We're
we're not
done.
doing
We're
trades.
done, bro.
Holy cow. Drop 5 spots and get
You get a third, 6, 2 7s, second, third, and a 6 next year. Yeah, that's crazy. Once again,
gotta love
for the
simulations,
first
man.
one. Yeah. So where are you going, Dylan?
He's not. He's not in the stream.
So I know he said that he said that in the
Oh,
private
okay,
chat
okay.
he's backstage. Oh,
Yeah,
looks like he's in.
My fault.
yeah,
Dylan.
yeah. For some whatever reason, like my stream refreshed and like it just like kicked me out. So
Oh,
I
fun.
rejoined in backstage. So yes, at pick 52, what are we looking at here?
What's up,
Man,
Snakes
I was
Info, Jake?
I
What's
was
going on?
shouting at you to get Andre Carter with your Patriots pick. I really like him a lot out of Army. I'm glad that they figured out a way for him to be able to be draft eligible and play in the NFL. I'm glad that that's
Mhm.
possible. But can you go to the receivers?
Yep.
I just want to see who's there. Cedric Hill, that's not really a great lifter receivers. Okay, go to the D line then. Yeah. What is it? Mozzie Smith still there? Yeah, I'd take Mozzie Smith. Great D line. Didn't really play too great at
Mhm.
in the playoffs, but overall he had a great overall season for Michigan this season. I don't know the exact numbers on him off the top of my head because I don't do a lot of Big Ten deep dives, but I know for a fact that in the games that I did watch, he was a dominant force. Again, Seattle needs to upgrade that defense, and I don't want to keep making defensive picks, but it just seems like that's really the best players available when it comes to our needs, at least. I've only saw one offensive player I probably would have taken over a defensive player, but overall, getting more defense was our biggest need and will probably still be our biggest need going into next season. Get as much guys as you possibly can on cheap contracts too, as well as that cheap contracts as well too. It helps out.
Yeah. All right. Mozzie Smith is your pick. All right, let's see.
What's my next pick? 3rd round.
Probably.
Hey man, I mean,
I think
I'm
we're
trying to
8.
think, like, where did Baltimore lose all their picks from?
For real. I'm not doing any deals with Atlanta because I hate those guys.
Yeah,
Carolina
Panthers.
can screw off, and that's it. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so go
let's
back
go
to
there.
all. Oh man, there's some.
Got your run of Syracuse players.
right. So let me look at some of my notes that I put on here. I'm going to catch a lot of flack. Is Hendon Hooker available, or did he get taken?
He's right there.
Yeah, I'm taking him. I know he's older. I know he
No.
just turned 25, but it looked like once he got some competent coaching around him, he was really able to take things over in Tennessee. He's not going to start right away because he injured his knee. I think it was in November. He had the ACL injury, so the Saints aren't going to be pressuring him to even probably play most of this year. But the Saints need a quarterback. He seems like he's got the intangibles. He's got a good arm. Seems like he can move. And this just gives us one chance. I don't think he lasts until the 4th round. And I'm tired of Andy Dalton, tired of Jameis Winston, and let's just rebuild with Hendon Hooker. So I'm taking him at my 3rd round pick.
I don't hate you doing that. I've mocked him to like Seattle a lot of times with that 50th overall pick, and that's something I've really liked. So
Yeah.
I honestly forgot about him. So I'm upset that I didn't pick him sooner. That definitely would have been a player I would have.
That was the one guy I was sweating about getting snaked, is because I think the upside for him can be huge. The only concern aside from the injury seems to be his age, and with quarterbacks being able to play till they're 38, if that means I get what would that be, like 12 years of a good quarterback?
12
I'm taking that.
Wait, cool. What I do? He said, "Shake my damn head." What I do, man?
That was some time ago. I honestly can't remember what you said back then.
I don't know.
Whatever it was, Cool wasn't feeling it. So for me, looking at this, I mean, this would be my last pick of this 3-round mock. Tackle, definitely, because Isaiah Wynn seems like his time in New England is kind of coming to an end. Brown, been hurt a lot. I think if they had to keep one of them, they'd probably keep Brown and maybe move him to the right tackle spot. So a tackle here, I like that. So whether it's, I guess, Mouch or Bergeron. Let me see wide receivers. I mean, Hutchinson, Washington. I'm kind of the mindset that, yeah, wide receiver was a need, but I feel like with Bill O'Brien coming in, if you're going to tell me the wide receiver position is going to be Parker, Tyquan Thornton, Kendrick Bourne. I mean, Myers is a free agent. We'll see. I think Aguilar is gone. If you tell me that you're getting those guys and hopefully more production out of Smith and Hunter Henry, I'm kind of cool with that. So I wouldn't go wide receiver here. I think I'm going tackle because that offensive line is definitely a need. Knowing Belichick.
Oh, he's going to want a North Dakota State guy.
Yeah, that's where I was leaning. That's where I would go with this one.
He said, what absurd college you play at? I want it.
And how many picks does Seattle have?
All of them. It don't matter.
Yeah, remember, they got that haul from Denver.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, once again.
My mock draft.
So where are you going with this one, Dylan?
Go back to linebackers real fast. I want to see if there's a specific player there. It doesn't look like he is. Dang. I was thinking of another linebacker out of Iowa, but I don't think he's there anymore. That's tough. Can you go to O-line again? IOL, inside O-line?
Yep.
Jarrett Patterson.
Okay.
Still not the dude I was hoping would be on the board, but Jarrett Patterson is still a good offensive line depth. I mean, Seattle needs at least another guard to really, I wouldn't say fill out our offensive line, but definitely make it compete. You know, we've had 2 rookie offensive tackles who are mainly pass blockers who did well in the running game, which was surprising to me. You know, Seattle's not that type of team known for their offensive line, and now we're getting to a point where, like, we're having young, good offensive linemen. We just need a couple more people to fill it out. I think Jarrett Patterson will be good. He was good at Notre Dame the years that he did play there. It wasn't the people I were really hoping for, but when you get to that point, you kind of have to, you know, pick what's left on the board, and Jarrett Patterson is definitely still a good pick left on the board. He's someone who was projected to go even as high as the second round, like at the start of the year, so I don't hate that.
Oh, it's a good pick. I like it.
And look who it is. Baltimore is now.
Oh, Jordan's up.
Jordan,
All right.
yay!
So we got a
So
receiver in
just go through the
Butte.
trade real quick.
I don't
Cowboys
want
offer
to. I don't want
Fitz
to trade.
Smith.
No, I don't want to trade.
We don't like
I mean,
them
that's
trades.
not- yeah.
So what I want to do is I'm gonna go.
So you went wide
so you got-
receiver in the first
So
round.
see, these are all the holes you need to fill, like the gray areas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So I'm gonna go cornerback, and I'm gonna go with Joey Porter Jr. from Penn State.
Oh, you know, he's gone. He's gone.
Yeah,
Oh my
he's
God!
long gone.
He's long gone.
There's your cornerbacks that are available.
Oh, you got LT's, what is that, his cousin, his nephew, Hodges Tomlinson?
Yeah, I think it's his. I
Awesome.
think it's his
His
nephew.
nephew? Yeah, his nephew. I said cousin. I just said some family member.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's,
I
You have- you
this
have
is
good corners
another
there.
position group you want to go with, Jordan? I mean,
I don't know why there's a kicker there with Tucker, but
it just has to fill it out at some point.
yeah.
You know, if you take every position away and
go
kickers
through all
left,
the
you'll need a
go through all
kicker
the
at some point.
positions. Go through like I'm trying to see, cause I know we need a cornerback, cause like Marcus Peters is kind of like
Mhm.
out of contract year. Trying to see who the Ravens would do in second round. I'm assuming a defensive pick.
Mhm.
Who knows? You might need a quarterback.
You just might.
I mean, yeah, you're not lying about that.
Max Duggan's right there for you.
I heard about that photo quarterback too.
Oh, Anthony Richardson, he's long gone. He probably went to the
Oh my
Bucks.
gosh.
Yep.
All my
Stetson
pictures
Bennett.
Yeah, that's the tough part about Moss.
Go,
You get
I'm
to the point where-
trolling. I'm trolling, yo. Go to edge. Let's see what we got in edge.
All right.
I don't know any of these players, man.
Brenton Cox isn't bad, but that's a reach
But
for him.
that's a
You know, there
reach
was
for sure.
there was I think was it Battle the safety was on the big board. I think he was a good pick. I was looking at him,
Right.
Jordan Battle. I think you get a good value there for him.
Yeah, I heard.
He's a
about
really
him
good
too.
cover safety. You
Yeah,
know, he's
I'll
gonna be really
go,
coached well.
And he's the
That's
Alabama
something.
guy.
I think also if you still want to go
Yeah,
corner,
Kyle,
I'm pretty
yeah.
sure. Oh, I'm pretty sure if you want to go corner, Jalen Jones is still there. He's a 6'2" corner that he's pretty fast overall. I mean, I'm pretty sure he averages
he's
around
good.
4.44. I'm pretty sure he averages 4.4, 4.5 speed at 6'2", 205. He's just probably a lot lower on boards because of how bad Texas A&M was. But if Texas A&M was one of those dominant teams this season, I imagine he'd probably get some first round.
I'm gonna go the Alabama route. I'm gonna go the Jordan
Battle.
Battle.
Alabama route.
Yeah, I know.
Jordan Battle.
That's what
He's
I
a
thought
roll
when I
tide.
had it here. You're gonna go there right away, but I mean, getting
A plus.
for it.
That's a good pick. Good pickup.
I think that's all I got.
If anybody else is coming up?
Probably a lot of
Is that it?
Seattle.
Yeah,
I think I have one more pick, or is that my final pick? No, I took my final pick, so I think I'm done. Yep, we're done.
Complete. Yeah.
Nice.
So recapping Ravens, got a B for Butte, A plus for Battle. It's not bad. No, I mean that's a
That's
good.
good.
That's a good draft.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good draft. If you go out of there with Keishon Boutte and Jordan Battle as your two picks, like the Ravens draft good, and I think the Boutte pick is going to be a little bit of a flyer. He's one of those guys that you guys could draft him there, and it's just because he brings a lot of upside. He has a lot of potential.
Plus,
Like
he's a
you're getting
taller
a guy
receiver.
he is a good receiver. He just had a little
I'm
kind of
saying,
shaky season.
A taller receiver.
Yeah, he is a taller receiver. He had a little bit of a shaky season with LSU, and that's just because LSU didn't know what they were doing at the start of the season, it seemed like. And then once they figured it out, he picked up and it was having his production.
I thought he was a high pick, but the whole scandal he had with LSU kind of dropped the stock.
It wasn't so much as scandal. He was just really kind of just upset he wasn't getting the ball, and that's just kind of what he
also
built
wasn't
into.
as good of a team as what they needed to show off.
I thought
his
the whole party
abilities.
that he was at, whatever he was.
That's
That's
nothing.
fine.
That hasn't came
Yeah,
up, so I wouldn't look too much into that.
So my board got Ringo, Sewell, Mouch.
That's a good draft.
Yeah, that's a great draft.
That's a good draft.
I'm telling you, man. Let me run a team for a year. Jake with the
Just gotta hope they
Saints.
pan out though. They all look like great
I bet
picks, but
true.
then none of them pan out.
That's it.
That's
That's it.
definitely true. So the Saints, you got Robinson, Tui Palatu,
Just say
Go with
Tuli.
that.
We'll
Yeah,
let's
we'll
call
go
him
Tuli.
Tuli.
and then Hendon Hooker.
That's a great draft as
Oh,
well
yeah,
too.
Not
I
mad
think-
at
I
it
think-
at all.
I think Thule's one of those guys you could see go in the first round. I think getting
His-
him at
his-
40 is exceptional value.
His potential. So when I did my mock draft, I looked up him because he came up as just one of the generic, and I looked at him. I was like, dude, if we got these three guys on the end of the second day,
Mhm.
I'd be thrilled. I'd be doing shots. I'd be excited. I'd be stoked.
Be getting your Bijan Robinson jersey ready, like
Maybe I need a new Saints jersey. All I got is my Breeze one. That one's not going to get used for a minute.
I'm surprised Barron Johnson went 29.
unless he comes back as the coach.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Dylan, who was the most
Yeah, he
active
got like
one out of
9
us.
picks, man.
At 5.
Yeah, he had 5. But I mean, Will Anderson, which if he's at 5,
There's no way that's happened.
I'm
Like-
doing shots. I'm doing backflips. I'm doing everything.
Like Dylan made absolutely the right call, but in what world is Will Anderson dropping to 5 in this draft? Gotta love
Man.
computer simulation.
It's very like the only reason like it's not probable is like why would Arizona like let Seattle happen?
Yep.
It's like I could see a world where he doesn't go 1, 2, or 4, but he would have to go 3 to Arizona at that. point.
Exactly.
Let's
Exactly.
see.
I'm surprised they left the quarterback Dylan for Seahawks.
Nah,
No,
man, CJ Stroud wasn't there. I would have took CJ Stroud if he was there. I would have shocked everyone and took CJ Stroud. But
No,
the
that would have
Colts
been the
took
right
him.
call.
Apparently,
That would have been the
Arizona
right
went
call.
Christian Gonzalez at 3.
Okay, so that's they would have took Will Anderson there. Christian Gonzalez is good. He's my number 1 cornerback on the board, but he is not
Number
picking
1 was
over
Jalen
Will
Carter.
Anderson-esque, I will say. He is not worth risking not
You
taking
heard
Will
of Jalen
Anderson.
Carter.
He went 1.
Jalen Carter was dominant for Georgia.
I know, but I just didn't see. I don't know the players like that. So.
No.
Yeah,
But yeah,
he-
in terms of the first pick, it's either Carter, or probably Anderson, depending on if the Bears trade out of that.
Yeah, and then if there's a
then
trade, you
that
never
kind
know.
of throws everything out of the whack.
Right.
But yeah, Gonzalez. So Bryce Young went to the Colts, which hopefully they wise up and would actually take a young quarterback. Porter
Okay.
Jr.
Porter
went to
Jr.
the
went number
Lions.
6. Yep.
Wow, that would be
Will-
crazy for him to go 6. But I guess
Yeah.
if Christian Gonzalez went 3 and the Lions got desperate,
Mhm. Will Levis went to the Panthers.
I love Paris Johnson and Miles Murphy's to both the spots they went to. That makes
Yep.
it perfect. Quentin Johnston at 11. Tyrese Wilson is a little interesting.
If Paris
You
Johnson
remember-
goes to the Raiders,
Yeah.
that makes Brady going to the Raiders a little more feasible because he needs a good
that's
O-line.
in all my mock drafts, I've been mock drafting Paris Johnson to the Raiders with the
Mhm.
fact of Brady's going there, so they
Yeah.
need offensive line
Okay.
help.
Yep.
Yep.
So look at this. For the Texans, you turn CJ Stroud, Jordan Addison.
Oh wow.
That's pretty good.
That's not bad.
I've been doing Bryce Young and Quentin Johnston a
Yeah.
lot there.
Right. Yeah. So it looks like they'd
Anthony
have-
Richardson to Washington.
Mhm.
That could be good. I just say that because they're my local team, and I see them every week. I'd like that.
Michael
That'd be good.
Mayer to Green Bay, I like that. Brian
Yep.
Brissett to Detroit,
That's-
I like that.
Mayer's
is
a
a good
guy I
draft.
wouldn't be shocked if New England tried.
Man, if
Mayer.
Preto Skoronski going to, I mean, this is a good draft. I mean,
This
I
is
don't
a-
even hate
this is a
Jackson
deep
Smith
draft.
and Jigba. I
This
don't
is
even
a
hate
deep
Jackson
one.
Smith and Jigba going that far.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Wow.
I can definitely see those two receivers, Keyshawn Butte and like Jason, like flip flop. They can go the other way and like.
Roderick Drones dropping to 28 and the Bengals picking him up, that would be like heaven for him. It
Oh
seems
my
like every
goodness.
team is getting stuff like they would need.
This is like what team is bad at their draft right now besides maybe Arizona, right?
Right,
Yeah, Arizona. Nolan Smith was getting an edge is a little interesting for Minnesota for me there. I'm not sure that would be my biggest need, but outside, like everything in that first round looks good. Jameer Gibbs makes sense. I don't hate the
Zay
Cowboys
Flowers, I'm in
drafting
love
a
with.
receiver.
I'm in love with Zay Flowers. I would hope New England found a way to get him, but
Him
Buffalo, I
going
would
25
love this.
is a little wild.
Right. I'm hoping like Flowers, maybe second round or something. But Buffalo
Anton
taking a
Harrison
running
going
back.
first round?
Love. Yeah.
That
Ooh,
was-
the Drew Sanders pick, I like him at the end of the first round to the Steelers.
Ooh,
as
that's
well.
a good Steelers pick. This draft has a lot of talent. This is a good one. This is really good.
Okay. So I mean, this
Juwan
is
Jones to the Packers. That's
Is there like a
good.
website other than like?
there he is.
Is there like a
John
website
Michael
other than like?
Schmitz.
Is there like a website or a link other than ESPN that can like look up like in depth, maybe PFF maybe?
There's
Have
tons
an
of
analytics.
Oh yeah,
stuff.
there's
A lot of them.
Mhm.
You can just look up mock drafts, and there's be tons and tons of websites that will just go in depth on them.
One thing
that's
that I've done,
tons of shit.
Jordan, too, is like if I'll look up mock drafts and I'll see players that are in my team's range, and I'll just pull up YouTube clips. And there's a lot of people that just give in-depth analysis, pros, cons, where they
Okay.
project to go, and you can get a lot of research. And that's how I fell in love with Tui. I saw him, and I'm like, oh my goodness, like I need this guy on my team. Like,
Right. I know Mel Kiper and like who's the other guy? Not Jeremy Fowler. Not Reese Davis.
for
Oh
ESPN,
my gosh, man!
Is it
There's Mel.
McShay?
Is it McShay?
Todd McShay.
yeah,
There's
Todd
probably
McShay.
yeah.
Tan white dude with yeah, he's kind of tan. Okay, yeah, that's him. Todd McShay. Yep, that's him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that's
when
like,
you said
like,
mock drafts on ESPN, those are the two guys I think of.
yeah, Mel Kiper and McShay. Yep.
All right.
Uh,
I mean, that was
do
a fun.
do you guys see the Rams? Aaron Donald. Maybe his last year. Do y'all see them drafting an edge or DN to replace
What
that
pick?
hole?
Yeah,
Oh, another pick.
Not till
How
like
many-
I think it's second round 52.
Oh,
is the
never
first
mind.
pick.
then,
Yeah,
but
because
hey,
they don't have first round picks for like the next few years.
they need a
Or-
lot of help in a lot
or
of
just like
spots.
Gene, or just like Key said. I mean, there's some hidden gems in those late rounds. So who knows?
Yeah.
Mhm.
This is a draft class that isn't particularly star studded. Like you don't have a lot of
Yeah.
big name stars that are going to go in and there
What's like the
produce,
top-
but you have a
top
lot
10
of like
stars, yeah.
you have like a lot of deep Like you just have a lot of depth just overall in this whole entire draft. Like you're going to find a ton of guys who are not going to be like, hey, I'm not going to get you 1,500 yards this season, but I might give you 707 touchdowns. So it's going to be one of those type of seasons where you're going to find like a lot of diamonds in the roughs, and some of these guys are going to be like these big name stars for us.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, I think that was fun doing a little mock draft. We'll probably do one every week.
Yeah.
I guess we'll decide whether it's 3 rounds each time, or I mean, do we want to go into maybe a full one? I mean, that might take a while.
We can just do a 7. Miss the whole episode. Don't.
I mean, I'm down
screw,
for that.
Screw all other news. Let's do a mock draft.
I definitely do think we do need to do a mock draft where we're all the teams and we kind of just like break down like what this team did right this year, what this team did wrong, why they should go in this direction. Definitely at least for the first round.
If he had copyright like rights to like look up like video, like watch it like on like the separate. Like you know how like the NFL station they have like the player they talk about, they have the video clip of them playing, like we can pull that up. Copyright.
Yeah, I mean draft coverage is like 6 hours. I'm not sitting here 6 hours looking up dudes on YouTube or whatever.
I get to like the first 2 rounds worth of people, and then like after that, I'm just kind of like, man, I'll catch it on my phone when you get drafted. I know your name.
Yeah,
sure. Yeah, I mean, come on, like I got a full-time job. I'm going to school. I don't have time to be doing.
And this year's a little bit different for me. I plan on going to the draft for this one, so I'm trying to like get up and know a lot more people. So if I see somebody, I'd be like, hey, you're supposed to project to go in the 4th round, but that's cool.
How much are tickets for like that little for like your section?
I don't know yet. It's one of those things that you kind of have to wait. You have to register for it. And then wait until it comes out type of thing. Because the draft is so spontaneous. They don't probably even know what they're doing for it yet. They don't even know what they're doing for the setup.
Kansas City.
Yeah, it's in Kansas City.
Yeah. Kansas City could be a wild place to be if they win a Super Bowl. We know how long that celebration will last.
I went to their first parade. I went to the parade that they did have, and it was wild. I just live in the area. I'm not a Kansas fan, of course, but like I just lived in the area, and it was wild.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, I'm with you talking about us picking kind of for everybody. I wonder maybe we do that like for the first round. Because at least
that's what I was saying.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll definitely have to do that 1 week, and then
that'd be good.
Kind of build up to maybe because once the NFL season's over, maybe we do like a full 7-round type of thing.
I think we should
guarantee if we do 7 rounds, I'm probably accepting a lot of trades. So
yeah, I think we should do a full 7-round where we look at the trades. We're like, okay, I'm going to take a lot of these. I would do that in like March.
Yeah,
right before the draft. We'll have way more information. We'll have more time. More grades will have come out, more scouting. We'll have the combine information to go from.
And then the new league year starts like what, in March?
Yeah.
Well,
so all the fun stuff goes on.
Yep. So we'll have more. Well, and we'll also be we'll be stoked for us. We'll have a full episode of it'll be a full 7-round draft, and maybe Kansas City will be drunk and offer us like 8 picks to go up like 7 spots.
Yeah, never know.
The draft's in Kansas City, so they probably just started early. Like they got their festivities started. They're like, "You guys want our picks? Like we don't care. We're hammered."
Yeah, yeah. Because once again, the free agency that'll probably change how some of us would pick for our teams. So definitely
for sure.
Once we get closer to the draft, we'll definitely do a 7-rounder. But yeah, I mean, I thought for first time doing a mock draft.
Do y'all see the Ravens or like a team like that, like moving up in the draft, or just staying at 2022, 23?
That would be a question for you if somebody.
Your biggest early is how can we get Lamar Jackson out of Seattle?
I don't know. I think Seattle, man.
Because it's just funny to tell you that, and it's even funny going after Seattle's QB coach. So it just saying like you guys are going to get Geno there, and he's going to be your franchise quarterback is even better.
Yeah, he had a second interview today. I think the Seahawks coach. So.
Geno's packing his bags. I wonder how good he looks in Baltimore purple.
He's not going in the Ravens.
Right, because you have the Pro Bowler Tyler Huntley.
Oh my God. All right. Let's end the show.
I mean, would you rather Geno Smith or Tyler Huntley? Well,
Geno for a backup, maybe, yeah.
No, I'm taking
Tyler. At least Geno earned his Pro Bowl spot.
Once again, we'll say we can say that for this.
I'll see you on Xbox, man.
Oh man,
you can't run from me, man.
This has been a really good episode. as we always say, we'll definitely be here every Tuesday, 7 o'clock. And as we said as well, with the NFL getting into offseason, we'll be deep diving more into these mock drafts and stuff. Have a lot of fun with that. But anything you guys want to say before we get out of here?
No, it was a long episode, but it was fun, man. It was fun.
Definitely.
I love doing mock drafts. This college time and this season is like my favorite part. This is where I get into it as like a football analyst. Is like love doing mock drafts, love college football, love draft coverage, love everything about it. So excited for it. And then plus UFCs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with a lot of cards like Sonya facing Pereira, round 2. This is the time, like, you know, other networks and other podcasters are doing mock drafts and getting geared for the draft season. So people are writing reports and stuff on players, and it's an exciting time. I mean, I feel like for me, I gotta get used to, like, you know, looking up players and their stats and stuff, so I can be more aware of, like, you know, who you drafted. Addison Bailey, I don't know, Bailey, like it's for make up a random name. I'm saying like Allison Bailey, sixth round pick. Let me see what he's about. So I gotta learn how to, you know, look up that information. But
it's a lot of information for sure, because you got East-West game, you got this game, you got all that.
I promise you, after one draft, after thousands of drafts, you still don't know what's going on. You're never gonna be able to predict your first round to be right. Like all of our mock drafts, the thousands of mock drafts we'll have, they're all wrong. They're all wrong. But you know, that's the fun of it, you know, to see maybe if we can get it right. And the ones that we do get right, we just cherish them more.
Well, I mean, Jake, you got anything before we get out of here?
Nope. Just great episode. Glad to be a part of it, and looking forward to next week. Same time, same place.
Yeah. All right. I mean, that's about what I would have said anyway. So appreciate you guys in the chat. You know, Anthony.
Yeah, it was part of our most like packed chat.
Cool. Appreciate you. Snake Sports. I mean, that's Jake. Appreciate you dropping in. Did I miss? Oh, Jeremy.
Freddie always with the fire emojis.
Yeah. Appreciate that one. Freddie, anybody else? Okay, that was it. But yeah, like I said, fun episode. I'm really ready for more mock drafts, but appreciate you guys tuning in. You already know what to do. Subscribe to the Sports Empire Network. A lot of things happening over here. You know, new shows, new people you'll see. So definitely want to jump on board now. And that's another Big 3 podcast in the book. We'll see you next week. Hopefully you join us. Like I said, every Tuesday, 7 o'clock. You'll see all of us here. And with that, we are out.